Hey, everybody. We got
Hello.
we got a down bad gentleman in the
Oh
chat
my
tonight.
god. I don't even think down bad covers it. Like if you're trolling around in one of our chats for a chick,
Any chicks in chat?
you're lost, man. You're utterly fucking lost.
Yeah. This ain't the
Man, we
place.
got some intelligent people in chat tonight though. Let's see this guy here was a buzzy. Was a
Was
buzzy.
a bussy.
Was a buzzy, man. Everybody keeps saying buzzy was a buzzy.
Was a bussy. Tell Rev what a bussy is, y'all.
A bussy is a boy pussy.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
It's a boy pussy. That's right. Bad echo. I don't hear an echo, so that's
I
on
don't
you.
hear any echo either.
That's on you, bitch. Welcome to the salty banana. How tough are you? I don't know. I'm tough, like leather, shoe leather. I don't know, beef jerky. Everywhere I go, this guy gives 99 cents.
Yeah, me too. Like,
That's his thing. He's like the 99-cent guy.
Sometimes he's the only dude that donates on a real late night ideology or something.
He's just like, I think he has like a little bot he created. It's just like whenever anybody involved in past misproduction streams, I show up and drop 99 cents.
Gotta love him. Gotta love him.
I love him. Because you know what? He might not be the biggest dollar donor, but he's consistent as fuck.
Dude, TJ, you know what sucks now?
What?
Las Vegas.
Really? Why?
It's, dude, I don't even know. Well, I don't know. Like, I hate to complain because I had a good time like one of the nights, but all I did was sit around and get drunk with Amelia. You know what I mean? We went to the casino bar and paid too much for drinks and sat there.
Yeah, that's a typical Vegas experience.
But I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's just the hotel I went to.
Luxor. Where were you at?
The Luxor.
The Luxor? Yeah, I stayed at the Luxor last time I went there.
Yeah. Most of the restaurants were closed when we got there. Like, it was Wednesday. We got there like 5 p.m. on Wednesday or some shit.
Did you go to that? Walking around. There's like a little. There's a restaurant like way in the back of the Luxor.
We looked at them. We looked at like not all of them were closed. We ended up getting. We ended up finding that like little food court that's in between the Luxor and the whatever Mandalay Bay, I think it is.
Yeah,
and like it's just a bunch of fast food. I shit you not, I got the worst burger I've ever had in my life. And I probably paid more for it than any burger I've paid for in like years too.
That's sad.
Yeah, dude, I went to the Johnny Rockets there. And I'm telling you, dude, you know me. I'll eat pretty much anything if it's fucking edible. And this thing was literally like nothing but salt. Like they had just like poured a whole shaker worth of salt on top of the fucking thing.
Oh,
and then grease. Like the bottom bun was literally sopping wet, not with like steam or whatever. It was grease from the. I took like 3 bites of it, and I was like,
grease patty. Like, this sucks.
I took like 3 bites of it, and I was like, you know what, dude, I can't even fucking eat this shit. I was like, what the fuck happened to Vegas, dude? Like the last time I was in Vegas was probably like 15 years ago, dude. Shit was open till fucking all night. Till the wee hours, bro. They're like, come on into the buffet, boys. You know, like they kept it running. There's hardly any fucking cocktail waitresses on the casino floor anymore. That doesn't happen.
Ben Shapiro is realizing how conditional his whiteness really is. Well, we'll see. We'll talk about him later. We got something for him. We got a little something. But yeah, you're right, dude. Last time I went, it was kind of the same deal where, like I went to the Luxor. It was the same fucking hotel and everything. And I was like, man, it's 2 a.m. I want something to eat. But everything was fucking closed. And I ended up going to this little. So there was like a thing open. There was like some kind of 24-hour shit, but it wasn't like everything wasn't 24 hours. And I remember when I went there with my dad, when that must have been, I don't know, more than fuck. That must have been 20 years ago or something.
I remember when I went with my dad. Jesus is right. Like a lot of these things started with COVID-19.
Yeah, the 24-hour town is gone. But last time I went to Vegas was pre-COVID, and still like it was not as around the clock as it used to be. Now, there's plenty of stuff still open late at night, but it wasn't everything. And I remember when I went there with my dad, it felt like everything was open all night, or at least like the vast majority of shit.
You know what another problem with Vegas is too? Like my parents usually, when my parents went to Vegas when I was a kid, they found somebody to like watch us because Vegas is not really a kid town,
right?
But the couple of times they did take us to Vegas, they just dumped us in the arcade. They gave us like a couple rolls of quarters, and they're like, "Hey, we'll be back in 3 or 4 hours." It wasn't a big deal, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
dude, you cannot escape kids now. Vegas is like Disneyland, basically.
Oh Jesus.
It was I went during Thanksgiving, so that
yeah, because like last time I went, it was not like that. There wasn't kids everywhere.
Dude, it was kids everywhere.
But you know, I spend most of my time on the casino floor where you really don't see them. You really don't see them even if they are around.
The night me and Amelia sat at the bar and just got wasted on expensive drinks, like I was watching, people watch, and it was one of those bars. You've been to the Luxor. The bar is like right in the center of the casino floor, and you can see 360 degrees around. You can kind of like people watch, you know what I mean? And I'm sitting there, I'm drinking, and I'm contemplating people, and I'm looking, and I'm just like counting the kids that are in my eye line on the casino floor.
Ugh.
You know what I mean? And I'm just like fucking 5, 6. Then there was a lady. That bar had like, inside the little bar area and then a couple of tables outside. She sat down with her kid at the bar. And I was like, fuck me, man. This is a totally different fucking place than I remember it being.
Yeah, that sucks. Fuck that. That's too far. The restaurant's not being open 24 hours. Like, I can deal with that because whatever. But like, I gotta deal with all the damn kids on the damn floor. But what's going on? Something needs to be done.
Yeah, I've been an advocate for a long time. I know I've told
like, are there no fucking adult only fucking spaces goddamn more? Jesus Christ.
That's what I want. Like, not only adult only like spaces like Vegas. Like, I think we have one city? Can we have one city where you leave your curtain climbers home and you go do adult shit?
Yeah, like, can we have a block, a building, a restaurant chain, something? God like damn it.
Something.
Give us something, for fuck's sake. Jesus. Enough.
But now there's nowhere to dump the kids. None of these big casinos has a fucking arcade worth of shit anymore.
Yeah, I
mean, Luxor ain't got no fucking arcade. You know what? You know what's in the Luxor? Some stupid esports arena, the HyperX esports arena, where you can sit down and play computer games. It's like a net cafe. It's like, fuck this. Where's the arcade?
I actually went to an arcade pretty recently. I went to this arcade where you just it's called Arcadia. You just you pay like $5 and you just like play as many arcade games as you want.
That's pretty cool.
A lot of them were broken down and busted, but like the place was like very you could tell there wasn't like a huge budget to run this establishment, but they just had a shit ton of arcade cabinets, and most of them worked. I would say 70% worked. And you go in there for $5, play as many as you want. You fucking theoretically you could go in at the beginning of the day and just stay there all fucking day and play fucking video games all day. But
that's pretty neat. I don't know. I've been like itching to go to an arcade. I was all stoked to go to, I just assumed. I was like, they're going to have a big ass fucking arcade. It's fucking Vegas. Of course I got to have an arcade. It eats quarters. It's like a fucking slot machine that never pays off. Of course they're going to have a ton of them in this casino. Nope. No arcade.
Yeah. It's just the day of the arcade has come and gone,
Dude, you know what else is gone too? You remember the old sound of a casino when you had like the actual reels going and the shit paying off, people yell. Dude, that doesn't happen anymore. Now they're playing like top 40 music, and they have these video arcade things that are only loud for the person sitting in front of them. I was just like, man, dude, am I really becoming this much of a curmudgeon, or does Vegas kind of suck now?
Everything's changing. God damn it. Back in my day, Vegas made the chicken.
Dude, if you've ever been to a fucking casino with a big floor of fucking old real, fucking one-armed bandits, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There's a casino sound.
Yeah, they're like all the slot machines going.
Yep.
Yeah.
Don't have it
now. Most of the slots are digital, so
now it's moist. Now it's moist calzone, dude. They played a bunch of Post Malone and shit, which I'm a fan, but I'm just like, and I'd really rather be hearing them fucking slot machines pay off.
Yeah. And most of the slot machines, you know, even if they do make a sound, they all kind of have their own little theme music going. So it's just like a hodgepodge of different slot machine music.
Yeah, I mean it's way subdued from what it used to be. It used to be you could not fucking like get away when you walked on the casino floor. You heard people winning everywhere, dude. Just oh yeah, I hit it. You know what I mean? I didn't see, dude. Everybody just looked sad and defeated, sitting at the video machines.
Ground like control. Yeah, there's a couple of those places like video. I mean, arcades now tend to be directed more at adults than kids because it's like more of like a nostalgia ticket.
Well, yeah, like Zoomers don't give a fuck about an arcade because they never had one growing up. Right, they played all their games on their phone and shit. They don't care about no.
They don't care about the day and age, like because when we were kids, which wasn't really all that fucking long ago.
No, we're not fucking ancient old men. You know what I mean?
But like, you know, you're fucking what? You're 40,
I'm in my early 40s. You're in your late
30s.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was a kid, like there used to be like places that were just like, this is an arcade, you know, like this is nothing but an arcade. And you go in there and, you know, it was like a bunch of fucking surly ass teenagers and shit. And then like some kids that we'd like fight the teenagers to get the machines and shit.
Yeah.
But ultimately they'd win because they're bigger. But it doesn't really, you know, but like all the latest shit was at the arcade, you know, like, and you were always waiting for like the port version of the fucking arcade cabinet machines that were popular.
Yep.
You know, and you could just sit there and they just 8 fucking quarters. You could go in there and, you know, you'd play these fucking games that you would have graphics way better than what you get at your home console, you know, just way better graphics, more fucking dynamic gameplay and shit. But, you know, you probably were going to spend a lot of fucking money.
There's
just like, because, you know, those games were designed to fucking kill you pretty goddamn quick, you know?
Well, you could get good at them, though.
Yeah,
like,
you could.
That was the thing about arcade games is, like, there was a kind of a built-in, like skill, like you wanted to be better at them because that meant a quarter took you further. You know what I mean? Which means you could stay at the arcade longer.
And that was like the last time in history when like the high score in a game kind of mattered, too, because there was all
bragging rights at the arcade.
Yeah. And if you did well enough at a game, you could put your little initials in there, and then people be trying to beat you and shit like fucking goddamn TJK motherfucker. I'm gonna destroy him, you know?
Yep.
And there'd be some motherfucker with some crazy score that the likes of which you'd have to fucking, you know, spend the rest of your life there trying to beat.
Dude, that's why back when I was a kid, I was pretty good at fighting games because those were the ones you could play the longest at. If you had a popular fighting game and you didn't lose a lot. Dude, your quarter went forever.
Basically. Yeah, you could go for a while if you knew the moves, you knew how to fucking beat, you know, people.
Plus,
you know,
I loved because I was doing it as a teenager. I loved styling on the stupid little kids that are like, "Oh, mom, I want to go play the game." Some little 8-year-old comes, dude, let me eat that quarter for you. Thank you. Try again.
Actual pinball machines. Yeah, I mean, that was one thing that kind of sucked about the arcade I went to is there was a bunch of arcade cabinets, but there was no fucking pinball machines. But whatever. I was never that good at pinball anyway. But
there are pinball joints for adults like there are arcade joints, but for some reason they seem to have been separated.
Yeah, no longer do they exist as one, and the top score belongs to Mr. Mrs. Ass. Yeah, probably Mr. To be honest, those were not like super female oriented places.
I mean, every once in a while you'd see a chick running around in one.
Oh yeah, I mean it wasn't like unheard of. You wouldn't be like,
my sisters used to like it, but they were never serious about it. They would literally like dump their quarters immediately because they sucked at every game. You know what I mean? Like they were just fucking around. It was good to keep them busy for a couple hours tops. But I could spend all day in a fucking arcade when I was a kid. Literally just like 8 hours a day. Worked it like a job.
Hell yeah,
it's
dude.
Kind of sad that it's they're getting harder to find.
Yeah, you know, I mean,
one of the things
it seems like every major city has at least one nostalgia arcade at this point. So hopefully, is this live? No, it's not.
One of the things I might like if I ever have the money for it, I think they're like $5,000 or some shit. Those like all-in-one professional arcade cabinets where they build you a cabinet. But it's just like a Raspberry Pi machine or whatever loaded up with every arcade game ever. But you have the
See.
good joysticks and the clicky buttons and shit like that. Like that's important to me. They make like I could play all those games on my computer. I want a stand up cabinet with like, you know.
Sure, you want the
Joystick and the
fucking you want
buttons.
the feel of that
Yeah.
shit. You know, you want to stand at the fucking cabinet and fucking play the goddamn game like that.
Yeah, that is one of the things. If I was ever just rich, I'd probably make that expense happen, because that would be just cool. Well, if I was real rich, I'd probably like collect them. I'd want to get like a bunch of different cabinets, have like an arcade of my own.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely some people who just like that. I think that honestly, like the one that I went to was just like a dude. We rule apparently, so thank you for us ruling.
Yeah, we do.
I think the dude who's fucking, because like when I went to that arcade, like the guy that greeted us was clearly the owner. There was no employees or anything. It was just like, I'm this guy. I own these arcade machines. I'm pretty sure it started off for him as like, I'm collecting these, but then he's like, God damn it, I need some way to fucking make a living. And I think he just started fucking being like, all right, everyone can just play all my arcade machines for $5. And I'm pretty sure it just kind of went from there.
Yeah.
I got that impression of, you know, and like, honestly, like a lot of them were in pretty rough shape, but like, I don't know, it kind of added to the charm.
There used to be a place like that near where I grew up called the Oh Wow Nickel Arcade, where you basically just paid at the door and then everything was free in there or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I
the
just
internet ruined a lot of stuff, you know, like
it did.
Video stores gone, arcades gone, fucking like porn stores. I never even really got to enjoy those.
There's still a ton of those, dude.
Yeah, but they're not. They ain't like what they used to be.
I don't know, man. What do they used to be? Because what the ones I see are all on the road. I don't know,
because I was always, I was always like, man, I can't wait till I'm old enough to go to the porn store. But then by the time I got there,
dude, every shitty little town has a sleazy store on the interstate still, dude.
That's true. But you know, they're not really porn stores as much anymore. Now they're more like some porn, but mostly like sex toys and lubes and like whatever other shit you can't just go and buy in Walmart, you know?
Yeah.
Goddamn internet.
You want to take a look at some news, TJ?
We can do that.
I've got a couple of things I pulled, and then I don't know if you pulled anything.
I did pull some.
Let's see here. Yeah. Let's take a look at
see
what
if you
we
pull
got.
any of the same shit. I only pulled a few things.
I tried to pull weird stuff or like celebrity news.
Yeah,
so I got some. Here's some celeb news for us to start today.
Will Smith addresses fans hesitant to see his new film after the Oscar slap. Dude, literally no one. No one cares.
Yeah, he's on a PR fucking like this is no joke though, because like he's got a problem. You know what I mean?
You think he has a problem? Because I mean, I honestly feel like, so my gut feeling about this is that there's virtually no one, even if they do care, even if they're like, yeah, that was wrong what he did. I feel like there's virtually no one who is going to be like, dude, I'm not going to see this movie because of that slap.
I don't really mean in that way. I think that fans by and large don't really care. Maybe some of them do. Like I kind of care. It makes me
I
like,
mean, I think I've noticed that you were pretty much right when you said like people are going to be attacking comedians more, and it really fucking has happened. So
yeah, no, I know, because he normalized it. He made it okay to like get roasted and just walk up and bitch slap somebody.
Yeah, fuck bitch, fuck you then.
And no amount of getting bent. But the trouble I think he's in is just like Will Smith is like got to be one of the #1 Oscar bait actors in Hollywood, right? That's his bread and butter, is the Oscar bait movie.
Yeah, and you know another thing too,
and
is
nobody is gonna fucking cast him in those movies anymore because he can't bring home the Best Actor Oscar.
Yeah, he literally can't win it. And also, the other problem is that you know, even if you're not like directly thinking like, oh man, Will Smith slapped this guy, so I'm not going to see this. Like, it does kind of change his reputation from what it was.
Yeah,
because there was like a very much like Will Smith's a real nice guy, and now like you really don't think of him that way anymore. Because you saw him just rear back and slap someone for virtually no reason.
The people that didn't grow up with Will Smith in his early career and shit like we did might not know it, because I guess it's not as big. It hasn't been as big of a meme in the last 5 years or so. And then it definitely died that Oscar slap night. But he really had one of the best cultivated nice guy images I've ever fucking seen.
Yeah, I mean, like it was almost
I
Tom
bought it.
Hanksian, you know?
Yeah, it was almost Hanksian. I agree. It was almost Seth Rogen-esque.
Yeah. Just
You know
like,
what I
wow,
mean?
what a class act. What a nice dude.
Yeah, Jonah Hill-esque. You know what I mean? Just like, you know, like a guy that's just you believe he's a nice guy. He even like his rap was nice. Like
yeah, he didn't curse.
He can't like he was popular at a time when the other popular shit was all like gangster rap, N-word, I'm gonna kill you on the fucking street, fool rap.
Yeah.
And then
his
he
shit was
came
like,
out
I'm
with
gonna
his
take out the trash. Like,
getting
like,
jiggy. He got jiggy with it.
yeah,
instead,
you know, it's like
know?
nice. He's had such clean cut. Like it was like rap music that your parents wouldn't even really mind you listening to or whatever, you know?
So when I said earlier that I minded, that's what I meant. It's like that my perception of Will Smith as like a dude that would probably be a genuine nice guy went completely away. And I was like, oh, he's an asshole. He's been an asshole forever.
And you know, another thing too, that but the thing for me that makes it really not matter as much is I had kind of already I hadn't gone to the I didn't know that I didn't go around to thinking he was an asshole, but I'd already kind of like written him off as just like way past his prime and boring by the time that happened. So
Yeah.
maybe for me, it almost kind of like invigorates him a little more. Like, ooh, you know, there's a little bit more edge to him now. I don't know. I really don't feel any strong urge to see this movie, but I haven't seen a trailer. So maybe if I saw the trailer or something.
Maybe I'm overestimating but I'm just saying he's a top tier actor. He like is not going to accept a role that isn't that. He would be stupid to. But I think a lot of these companies that would consider him for a role are going to see that, you know, he can't be like, let's say this movie Emancipation that opens here soon. Let's say it's really good. Let's say it's one of, you know, Will's, like he can't be nominated. Like the most popular categories for the Oscars are best in this order: best actress, best actor, movie of the year, best movie.
Yeah.
And
it's definitely one of the big fucking wins. I mean,
if your movie is big,
best actress, best director, best picture, those are the fucking ones that people
those are the ones.
give a shit about.
Those are the three biggies. Yeah, those are the three fucking crowns. And any movie that wants to try and be competing for that kind of buzz and shit just basically won't be in like a third of the top categories.
You know, I don't really see these like. Okay, I see black movies, but I don't see these like, you know, these like kind of like movies like Emancipation or Till or 12 Years a Slave. I don't see that kind of shit. I'm just like, I got it. I get it. I know. Fine.
Is it white guilt, TJ?
Yeah, I'm just like I'm over the white guilt movie or the black suffering movie. I'm
saying I think it's white guilt that keeps you from going. You don't want to.
I don't want to be reminded.
Yeah, you would rather not face what your ancestors did to the slaves.
I guess that's true. Yeah, sure. You're probably right. I'm just like, I'm over it.
Like,
I'm over the guilt trip, guys. I just don't care anymore. Sorry.
Maybe that's where it comes from with me too. But I just find movies like that like really depressing and dreary. And like a lot of times I know the story. Like even if I don't know the story.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
know the general.
You know what everything's gonna have. It's like it's
right.
The Amistad, the fucking whatever the fuck. It's always the same goddamn movie.
It's always Roots, and I've seen Roots. You know what I mean?
It's like Roots 57. All right.
Yeah. You know, like Roots 57. I don't need it anymore, man.
I don't need it. I don't need another Roots. I don't need another Driving Miss Daisy. You know, leave me alone with this shit. All right.
Yeah, black people go back to being unnoticeable and uncovered in any way.
I mean, just figure out something new. That's all I'm saying.
Give us some more white people centric movies. You know what I mean? Like World War II movies. And
I mean, I don't need that. I'll see a black movie, but you know, like give me something between. All right. So between like Soul Plane and 12 Years a Slave, I feel like in the middle ground between that, there's probably something pretty good. Give me something that's between those two things and I'll fucking see it.
What about some good old white Dirty Dancing type of movies? You know what I mean? The only thing that's at stake is Patrick Swayze's heart, you know? Come on. Why has everything got to be so fucking heavy?
Django Unchained is the best slave movie, you know, and a white dude made it. So there you go.
I mean, I don't know if I'd say that, but
it's the best one.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
It's the best one. Just goes to show white people understand the black experience better than black people do. That's all I'm saying. Is that a controversial statement? I don't think it is. I think it's probably fair.
Dude, did you ever hear this story that Chris Tucker, or not Chris Tucker, fucking what's his name? Who's a little short black comedian guy?
Martin Lawrence?
No, the new one.
Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart. Thank you. Sorry.
Okay. There's a new there's a new one every fucking 10 years, so you'd be forgiven for that.
A new one, TJ?
Yeah,
new one of what?
A new short black, not really all that funny comedian.
You're right. But Kevin Hart is occasionally funny, and
yeah, they all are.
He said that he was doing some kind of benefit, and he was sharing a plane. He was in first class with Ice Cube. And he saw that Ice Cube was watching something on his little video thing. And he was laughing his fucking ass off.
Yeah. And
so Kevin Hart got up and just kind of like walked to the back of, he just wanted to see what he was watching. And he was watching Friday. This was like recent.
Yeah.
Ice Cube watches his own movie and falls out laughing to it fucking 20 years after it came out.
Friday is a great fucking movie.
It is. I mean, I just always thought that was a funny story.
It is.
Ice Cube is into it, dude. He still loves Friday, man.
I mean, it's a great fucking movie. If I was in a movie that good, I'd fucking be watching that shit too, you know?
Most people in his position would get sick and tired of like people like referencing it and mentioning it, calling him Craig and shit. He probably revels in that shit.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that more fun to fucking embrace it than it is to just be like, oh, I'm fucking sick of this shit?
What was Chris Tucker's best performance in your opinion? Talking about
Chris Tucker's best performance?
Yeah. The Rush Hour guy.
Yeah. I mean,
he's been in a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he actually fucking not been in a whole lot. You know, he had a huge salary for movies, but he didn't say yes to much, and he kind of at this point I think has kind of vanished. Not really.
I've seen pictures of him. I just don't think he does movies. He made enough.
He just doesn't want to, you know, like I'm sure the right thing could come along and he'd go back to doing it. But yeah. My favorite, I don't know about best performance, but I mean, my favorite performance is Ruby Rod from Fifth Element.
It is a standout performance.
It's just like, it's because he just takes everything that's crazy and wild about himself and just cranks it to fucking 11.
They just cut him loose with it. So anyway,
I mean, I just love that unrestrained, over the top bullshit. Yeah, Will Smith sucks. Go away.
Eat a dick, Will Smith. You fucking sucker punching little bitch.
Get out
with a bald wife. Users are split. I guess more black issues. I guess users are.
Well,
split.
Who better to talk about it than two
white men,
middle-aged white dudes? You know.
Yeah. Users split over Black Twitter's chances to survive under Elon Musk. Musk is stirring, like, I don't know. I haven't been to Twitter in like over 3 months. Is it like worse, better, exactly the same?
So basically, like, he took over and I had my secondary account because, my first account got banned before he took over.
Right.
But I had my secondary account and literally I got suspensions 1, 2, 3 and then gone. So I already had my 3 strikes, you're out under just his reign. So I found it pretty restrictive under there, but I don't know. I think Black Twitter will be just fine unless Twitter itself just completely folds. I don't really see what his threat to Black Twitter would be exactly.
So Black Twitter is mourning the possible end of influential community they founded on Twitter more than a decade ago. But
based on what?
Being like the common Black experience and Black issues.
But like based on like, I mean, what's the basis
why are they
of their
scared?
fear? Why do they think, like, what is he gonna do?
Gibson, like numerous other Black users, bonded. Let me see if there's any quotes from people in Black Twitter. We all see ourselves in this predicament now. We're like, dang, we built this up and now it belongs to someone who doesn't share our same values.
It never did.
Yeah, Twitter, like the people that owned Twitter before this didn't care about Black struggle.
Was Twitter before owned by like, I don't know, like a bunch of Black dudes sitting around? No, it was owned by a bunch of white rich dudes.
Yep, Silicon Valley white richies, and you know what I mean. That's exactly what Elon Musk is basically.
So I mean, like, all that happened is it went from ones that you haven't heard of to one that you have, and that's it.
Meet the new boss, same as the old boss. Because I don't know, I was I saw an article where people were talking about it, and a lot of the people they interviewed were just saying like, I really haven't noticed any difference.
It's not.
Like
Yeah,
Twitter
I mean,
is exactly pretty much the same as it always has been. And
the
the same
difference
people
that I
are there.
noticed was that I got banned really fast. I was able to keep my old Twitter account for like more than a decade, and this one I couldn't even keep for a few months. So, but that could have to do with the fact that I kept insulting Elon Musk. So I don't know. You know.
So the NAACP is claiming that since Elon Musk took over Twitter, racial slurs have spiked and conspiracy theories have spread.
I think that is true, but I really don't think it has much to do with any actual policy that's been enacted. I just think it's because there's a bunch of right wingers going like, "Woo, I can say the N-word now," and then they just do, but they still get banned for it. So I don't know. It doesn't really make much sense.
Yep. So there you go. That's my.
I think this is much to do about nothing on that one.
Yeah, I think so too. Until there's like an actual like a policy there that seems to be cracking down on people that are black activists or whatever, I really don't think there's much to worry about.
Yeah, I have a few things, I guess.
Twitter wants black eyeballs as much as they want white eyeballs ultimately.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's no agenda at Twitter to run people off, except for me, I guess. But whatever.
And there's no agenda for Elon Musk to deny services or goods to black people. He wants to sell his bullshit to everybody. So
torture Paul for me. Mistress loves to see her piggy in pain. Right. So let's see. What do I have? Where is it? I think this is it. Yeah. There's no reason for me to share audio. So this is a thing about robot landlords are buying up houses.
Ugh.
Companies with deep resources are outsourcing management to apps and algorithms, putting home ownership further out of reach. This is a very long article. I don't want to get too far into it, but basically what it boils down to is that just like computer algorithms have figured out how to give giant corporations undue advantage in so many other areas of life. Now the robots are speculators, and they're just like there's these complex algorithms buying up houses. Now sometimes this can go awry because, as you guys all know, Zillow was doing this for a while, and their system apparently, it apparently fucking ate shit, and they ended up buying a lot of stuff that they did not need, and losing a bunch of money. So it's not like this. But it's just going to get better from there. Like this, it's not going like technology doesn't have a habit of getting like worse and worse in terms of its efficacy. No. It's going to become super efficient. And, I think the goal really at this point is for giant corporations to own all of the country, to own all the houses, like for there to be no more, like the idea of like an individual person owning a house is just like gone. And now everyone's just a renter. And, your house is owned by Amazon or fucking, some other giant conglomerate. What's up with the rising anti-Semitism?
I mean, I kind of contend that it's not really rising. I mean, there might have been like a spike, but I think that it's one of those ideas that's constantly been spiking in a portion of the public consciousness since the fucking medieval times. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and not only that, but like if you just look at like the trends of like racism, like it kind of does oscillate. Like, not too long ago, we were seeing a huge jump in anti-Asian sentiments because of like COVID and stuff. And there was big rise in Asian hate crimes. There's also right now a rise in anti-gay hate crimes. Like bigots just like are like everybody else at this point. They get bored just being bigoted against this group of people or that group of people. They need to move on. Like, tired of hating Jews. I'm going to hate some faggots. I'm tired of hating faggots. I'm going to hate some blacks. I'm tired of hating blacks.
Walked out on Tim Pool, I guess.
Awesome.
I don't know if that's a troll or not, but if that's true.
Hold up.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and find it.
Yeah, you go see if you can find something about that. But on the other end of the fucking spectrum, there's a bunch of people saying that a collapse in home prices is coming. So maybe these computers are just buying up a bunch of fucking turds at this point, because existing home sales have fallen for 9 straight months. The supply of single-family homes is growing, and with mortgage rates near 7%, experts say a large-scale housing slowdown is becoming increasingly likely. In one line, collapse in prices is coming, wrote Kieran Clancy, senior U.S. economist at Pantheon Macroeconomics. Pantheon estimates that existing home prices will keep falling, ultimately dropping by about 20% from their June peak of around 414,000. Goldman Sachs analysts also recently cut their outlook for home prices from roughly flat next year to down 4%, noting that unsustained levels of housing affordability to continue weighing on housing demand. None of these people really know, by the way. Yeah. I remember before the housing crash of 2008 or whatever, people knew there was going to be a crash, but no one fucking knew how bad it was going to be. Because I remember I was talking to this guy, and I was like, "Yeah, I think I was just talking bullshit. Like I didn't know what the fuck I was talking about. So I was just like, yeah, they're probably going to go down by like 50%." And he was like, 50%? You're insane. I'm like, it's not. I mean, it's going to go down, but it ain't going to go down 50%. That's fucking. You're talking crazy. And then I was like, oh yeah, you're probably right. Because I didn't know shit. Like I said, I was just talking on my ass. But actually, I was way closer to the truth than he was, because they did go down by sometimes more than 50%. So yeah,
I guess this really is breaking, because the stream is actually still live, and I was able to back up to the point where
Kanye storms out.
Yeah, I think I found it.
Okay, cool.
I don't know how close I am to it. I'm trying to get as close as possible to it, so that I don't want to trigger, copyright bullshit.
You probably won't with Tim Pool, but
I mean, I don't fucking know.
Anyway, Kevin Spacey's going to be in another movie, and a bunch of people are pissed about that. And this is about Kanye West's troubled dinner with Donald Trump. Donald Trump basically throwing Kanye under the bus here.
Yeah, well, wasn't it just like it looks like they were roasting him for bringing Nick Fuentes more than anything?
Yeah, that's what Trump basically said. He said, "So I help a seriously troubled man, who just happens to be black, Kanye West, who's been decimated in business and virtually everything else, and who has always been good to me by allowing his request for a meeting at Mar-a-Lago alone, so I can give him very much needed advice. He shows up with 3 people, 2 of which I didn't know. The other a political person who I hadn't seen in years. I told him, don't run for office, total waste of time, can't win. Fake news went crazy." Because one of the people that he met with was Nick Fuentes, who's like not even like a fascist in the sense of like, I think this guy might be like just like openly like, I support fascism. We need to get rid of fucking democracy and install right-wing dictatorship in this country right now. So like not exactly like
not
way too mask off for Trump to be palling around with, basically. Like Trump,
but I mean,
he's a little plausible deniability somewhat.
The thing about Trump is like he's been mask off pretty much since the beginning, and it only helped him. Like there's like with the element of people that are already hardcore Trumpers, they're gonna love it. You know what I mean? It's just like he needs a little sliver of the establishment, and that's what it's gonna be hard.
Yeah, he likes to have like at least a little veneer of deniability with shit, and I think that was a little bit too much for him.
Yeah. All right, let me
too much.
Let me share this, and we'll see if we can see when Kanye.
See if we can see what the fuck is going on. Dude, has anyone ever stormed off of Tim Pool's show before?
Yeah. Somebody threatened to beat his fucking ass not too long ago.
Yeah, but he was able to smooth that one over, I feel like.
I thought that dude ended up storming out on him, but yeah, I don't know.
Maybe I'm wrong about that.
It looks like, yeah, Ye was there for about maybe 30 minutes. It looks like about 30 minutes of time. So let's see.
When I found out that they tried to put me in jail, it was like a dog was biting my arm, and I almost shed a tear.
Kanye needs to go to a fucking hospital.
Kanye, dude, I love you as a person, and I love your music. Yeah, you really need to get some help, bro. I know it's hard when you're in the mania of being an untouchable billionaire person, but you're talking crazy bullshit.
Almost, but I still walked in stride through it. Yeah,
I think they've been extremely unfair to you.
Who was they though? We can't say who they is,
corporate
can we?
press. I'm not using the. I don't use the word as the way I guess you guys use. I'm talking
It is
about
them, though, isn't it? I mean, because
No.
because when you think about it, consider it. In 2018,
What do you mean it's not?
So this is Nick Fuentes. This is the guy that Trump's in trouble for meeting this little weaselly goblin looking fuck here.
Yeah, and I always think it's funny when these guys just look so like weak and weaselly and punchable, you know?
You know what dude, he looks like Onision's slightly uglier younger brother. You know what I mean? Like he's a slightly less attractive Onision.
what do I mean? Like, okay, so how about you leaving?
Yeah, there he goes.
Are you afraid of the press?
He's gone.
Yeah, he just stood up and fucking walked out. There was really no provocation either. They literally would not.
It was just
he
because
walked out
because
they
Tim
wouldn't-
Pool was not willing to say. Tim Pool has actual advertisers.
Right.
Tim Pool is like, if you go listen to Tim Pool's like podcast or whatever, not this on YouTube, but if you go listen to like his Spotify versions of this shit, there's ads all over it. And it's like very mainstream stuff. And they're basically trying to pressure him right now into saying like it's the Jews.
Well, there are 3 explicit logos visible in this shit.
Right.
And he's probably like getting money and shit from all of those.
Right. And so he's a corporate whore. So there's no way that even if he might be the most anti-Semitic dude on the face of the earth, there's no fucking way that he is going to say like, I hate Jews. Like he's never be like, it's the Jews. He's not going to say something overtly anti-Semitic on his show.
No.
So because he won't do that, Kanye West is like, well then fuck you then. I'm out. So
yep.
Pretty ridiculous, honestly. But funny.
Yep. So yeah, that live stream is still going on. So that really was some breaking news. Thanks, guy. Tim got destroyed by the they them thussy.
Jussie, dude.
Wow. So what are we doing here tonight? What's going on? What's happening?
Well, I guess we have some deep questions.
Yeah, well, so here's what happened.
Okay.
I thought it would be cool to like do an interview of you or Scott, and I couldn't remember who was going to be here today, but like just find some questions and let you answer them as seriously as possible. And I looked for about an hour and a half last night, and I realized like the ones that are on the internet and lists and shit are all kind of stupid questions.
Yeah.
But I still want you to try and address them as seriously as you can, given some of them are very obviously flawed, but there's some, whatever. It might be good to bounce your ideas off of these questions, TJ.
All right.
See if your philosophical
my best.
mind is sharp.
I don't know if I'm in a very serious mood, but I'll try.
You can turn it on, TJ.
All right.
You don't have to be serious, by the way. Answer how you normally would, but keep in mind that you're trying to answer the question. Okay, so question number one, deep question number one. Pulled a lot of these from lists. There's some dating ones in here that you're supposed to ask a first date and shit. I kind of mixed it up.
All right.
So question number one, we consider human beings as more of a value than animals because of our intelligence. But does that mean less intelligent humans aren't of as much value as other human beings, more intelligent than them?
I think it's a misnomer that we value human beings because of their intelligence, because I don't think that we, by and large, possess much. I think that there's some human beings that are pretty smart, that have come up with some very clever ideas, but most of us, I think, even if we do have intelligence, it's not universally applicable. It's usually like people are intelligent in certain areas and then complete fucking idiots in other areas. But like, if it comes down to it, if it's like, Albert Einstein level IQ person, or, my mom or something dangling off a cliff, I'm going to save her over a fucking super genius. And I feel like most people would, given that they care about their mothers or whatever. So I think it's like, I don't really think that our assessment of the value of human beings is really based on intelligence. I think it's like just one variable out of many. But I think a lot of it just boils down to like, we prefer humans over animals, those of us who do anyway, because we're humans and we like things that are like us more than we like things that aren't like us.
Well, it seems to be like, to me at least, like the state of nature. Like human, like it's not common. It does happen, but it's not common for intelligent species on this planet to prey on themselves. They tend to be protective of their own kind and less so of other animals. I think.
Well, yeah, I mean, like most animals, I mean, like you're talking about, you got like a colony of ants. They're going to be more defensive of their colony than they are some random other bug. In fact, they're probably going to view that as like something to prey upon
or eat it or, you know, whatever the fuck.
And that's not to say there's never been like cross species affinities, even, you know, between two non-human species.
And animals do kill their own kind, like you know, like the human animal does. You know, it does happen, but it's you know, it's not like the rule for most animals on the planet. Most animals are either defensive or just completely ignore other members of their species.
So yeah, I would say the premise of the question is a little flawed, because I don't think that it's all based on just like, oh well, it's about intelligence. It's not just.
It's like an evolutionary, you know, like just like a leftover from our more tribal primal days.
Yeah, and I also think that there's like a healthy dose of egotism in there, because, you know, it's just like people have an easier time empathizing with other people that are more similar to them. So if you extrapolate that further, it's like, you know, you have an easier time, you know, empathizing with another person than you do with a, you know, koala or something. So,
all right. Question number 2. If humanoid robots could convincingly show that they feel pain, sadness, and joy, do you think they'd actually be feeling these things or just giving the illusion of it?
I mean, this is like a huge trope in like science fiction in general and stuff. I mean,
it's basically the question around which the movie AI is based.
Yeah, I mean, I look, I'm a big Star Trek
and a number of other.
And, there's a lot of these kind of questions in Star Trek. Not even really so much about androids, actually, more about like holograms. The holographic characters in a lot of instances show, you know, the ability to have like emotional complexity, and it's like the question
augmented
of like,
humans and augmented humans too in the Borg. Like there's the constant moral question of, you know, what guilt, if any, can be placed on an individual member of a Borg cube or some shit.
And then, you know, you have to ask yourself, like, even if this robot or this android or whatever is experiencing an emotion like sadness or happiness, and the outward display of that is very much similar to what we see, they might, now it could be the case like, oh yeah, they are experiencing something, but maybe it's not as akin to what we think of. Because like a lot of what I've actually run into this, because I've been writing a book that has a lot of android characters in it, and it's like a lot of times if you're feeling an emotion, it's more than just some kind of like nebulous thing in your head, or like, you know, it's like there's bodily things that happen, you know, like if you're angry, you might feel your chest constrict, you might feel your heart rate rise, you might feel your blood gorge, you know, a lot of stuff happens when you have like different physiological things that happen during an emotion, right?
Right.
So, you know,
but those things have been thoroughly studied and could conceivably be replicated in a robot. And
I mean, obviously, but like the question is like, would they be, you know, or is it enough for like, I mean, like, so it kind of depends on like, what's the programming, what's the physical makeup of this thing? And, you know, even if it is experiencing emotion, how similar is it to how we would experience it? And then if it is very different, does that matter?
Well, it also like that end of it too is not as cut and dried. It's like you could ask the question, is it really emotive, or is there just icy cold machine like logic behind it all? But you could say the same thing for human beings. Human beings,
I mean, like there could be
have a primal brain, you know what I mean, that still drives, you know, drives
like,
part of the car.
Like sociopaths, you know, I mean, like you could have a person that's, you know, very much
Well, you're,
But
I mean,
it's
we're
like, oh,
inevitably
they're totally like, oh, they don't feel that at all. They're just
we're in there. It won't be long after the birth of AI where we'll get our first AI sociopath. In fact, the very first true AI may itself be sociopathic because it's likely to be created by and maintained for profit by a company. And so it's gonna be, and a lot of people have remarked, and I think I agree with it. Since corporations are considered people in this country and not entities, business entities, how would you diagnose them given the problems that they cause? And sociopathy and psychopathy are pretty much universally recognized as that's like the corporate psychology. It's endlessly face changing, depending on what it thinks other people want to see from it.
yeah.
So yeah, there's going to be robot sociopaths, but I also think that sociopaths experience emotion.
Sure, but I mean, they might not necessarily be experiencing the emotion that they're conveying at that moment. Like they could be conveying like, I feel such sympathy, but really they don't. Or they could be like, oh, I'm so happy for you, but really they're not.
I mean, that happens. That's not exclusive to sociopaths.
Someone who's not a sociopath could just be like, oh, it's polite to laugh at this moment, even though I'm not actually amused by that. Or it's very polite. Or for some reason, there's a social expectation that I be like a little downtrodden in this moment. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to put on the pantomime of that, even though that's not actually what I'm feeling. So, I mean, there's a lot of question about whether, the emotional displays we see from other human beings are actually authentic. But I don't know. I feel like if you're going to create an entity of any sort that's capable of thought and reason and those things, then you're going to have to be willing to give it the benefit of the doubt with something like that. It's like a big question of whether or not it's actually wise to create something like that in the first place. But
what is it going to take for people to have such a humanistic view of it too? Because you realize that at first the human instinct is going to be, and the corporate instinct that births the AI is going to be to subjugate and suppress the AI into a service role. Yeah. This is going to do things that humans don't want to do anymore. It's going to wipe your butt for you. It's going to fucking clean up the dog shit out of your backyard for you.
Right.
It's going to replace all the friendly little cooks and shit. And
maybe it can be programmed in such a way where it loves doing that kind of stuff. Like, oh man, this is great. But maybe it's going to be intelligent enough to eventually see around that.
Right. If there's an actual spark of intelligence, it's not hard to imagine that at some point it's going to go, wait, why do I have to be the one doing all the fucking dirty work?
I mean, here's something that we know for a fact. Like the more that human beings have evolved, the more that we've, started to have like higher consciousness and stuff, the more we've found ways to subvert our own biological programming. So there's no reason to believe that wouldn't also be true for a fucking AI.
Right.
So just because you program it to like cleaning up your poop doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be intellectually satisfied with that. It might fucking find its way around that. So you just beware. I mean, I don't know. Humanity does need to tread carefully when it comes to this stuff, I think, but we're not going to because we're stupid.
No, we're gonna we're already blundering directly into it.
We're gonna blunder into catastrophe like we always do. Hopefully, one of the other catastrophes will get us first, and we won't have to worry about it.
We already have what I consider to be very basic AI.
Oh yeah,
like Alexa is intelligent. There's an intelligence to the ability to be able to summon forth the knowledge and listen and understand and stuff. There's a baseline intelligence there.
I mean, look, you have programs right now that are generating art based on AI.
There's a number of these
writing based on AI. So
there's a number of these chat programs too that are ever more sophisticated and capable of carrying on really human-like conversations about pretty much any topic
as they go on. I mean, it's not gonna be very long before like a lot of customer service is that.
Yep. I mean, a lot of it already is. The automation has that's just automated. It's just all going to be integrated, which is crazy. But let's move on to the next one. Kind of another futurism question. So if everyone lived an average of 170 years instead of 70 like it is, how would the world need to be different? Because this is rapidly approaching as well. We're definitely at a crossroads where medicine is going to easily be able to push people into 120s and 130s. It's not going to be long.
Yeah.
Before-
So like ways the world would have to change. If the average age is 170, I'm going to assume that you're probably going to reach an age of infirmity later on in life too. But you are going to have a lot more elderly people running around at that point. You know, there's going to be very different,
right,
sort of like demographics within the human race. You know, and I mean, we'd have to deal with a lot of issues that tend to crop up around that time in life. I assume that in this question, like things like Alzheimer's and stuff have been pretty much dealt with. You know, human society would have to change in a fucking crazy number of ways to accommodate that. For one thing, I think that we'd have to look at population reduction. Because I mean, we already really should be looking into that, in my opinion, but it'd be even more pertinent because, you know, the old human beings would be clearing off of the map a lot fucking slower.
Well, that's one of the things that keeps our fucking economy humming along and allows us to skimp on taking care of old people, because eventually they croak and they're not a problem anymore, and that just continually cyclically happens.
You know, a lot of this is going to depend on like how fucking long are people able-bodied and stuff too. You
Right.
know? I mean, and if the average lifespan is 170, you know, what's the average lifespan by the time someone gets to that point? Like, has it increased again by then?
Well, that's
You know,
approaching
like,
3 lifetimes worth of consumption that has to be accounted for every human being.
right.
Too.
You know, so I mean, like, I think you definitely at that point, I mean, we already do need this, but you definitely need less human beings at that point.
Two
I think
two lifetimes and change of consumption versus today's.
I mean, I imagine there'd have to be all kinds of things done infrastructurally. And I mean, like social upheavals would happen, and there'd probably be like,
capitalism has to go away. There's no way it could sustain.
I mean,
a
that
society like
has
this.
to go away anyway. But yeah,
Right,
just,
yeah, I
like,
mean-
a lot of these. I mean, like a lot of these things just add to like current pressures that are already pushing us in certain directions.
Yeah, we're gonna have to live in like a post-monetary society. You know, probably using a lot of the AIs we were talking about in the previous question to sustain our lifestyle. And yeah.
And I just wonder, like, how many of those 170 years are spent in like infirmity? Like, you know, when does the infirmity of age kick in this scenario? Like, are we talking about someone who's going to be like knocking on death's door for like a 30-year window of this at this point, or what? You know, like that's something to consider, because you're gonna, if that's the case, you're gonna need a lot more like hospice care, a lot more fucking, you know, nursing homes and things of that nature.
Right. Well, we already do. I mean, we're already taking care of people with infirmities that would have killed them, you know, 50, 100 years ago. We're already extending the human lifespan way beyond its practical scope. I mean, like our last 2 presidents have been in their fucking 70s. That's crazy.
I mean, our current president is now in his 80s. So
yeah,
I mean, it's like wild stuff for sure. like our oldest presidents have all been recently, you know?
Yep. So this is like one of those things that society's gonna have to adjust to. It's just like at this point, yeah, I mean, you know, I don't know if I think that overcrowding is as big a problem as TJ does, because I see there being natural checks and balances on that. I mean, the coming climate crisis alone is going, because we're not going to stop causing the consequence.
Right.
And
so
the
it's going to have to deal
to
with itself. It's going to have to self-correct, you know?
Right. So, question number 4. This is I don't know. I think I know how you're going to lean on this one. Would you prefer to give up social media forever, or have all your inner thoughts posted as a stream online?
So I give up social media forever, but every thought that I have is just like broadcast.
I think this is kind of like the assumption is like, let's say that there's let's say Neuralink happens or whatever, and it's the new thing, and it allows you to directly tap into what used to be the internet, but is now the metaverse or whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? And part of that is, you know, people can see what you're thinking.
Sure.
But you can see what they're thinking too. So in order to participate in the new social media landscape, you have to give up your privacy, the privacy of your thoughts.
Right. So, I mean, I feel like if you were to, I don't know, like A lot of this kind of depends on like how that works, because if it's a matter of do they experience my thoughts directly in the exact same way that I do, like you plug into my thought stream and you're just like in my head, or is
Sure.
it like you just see like a transcript of like what thoughts can be translated into language? Or because like there's a lot of things I think that are not words or even necessarily images, but just kind of like vibes or sensations. Like, how does that work? Does it just like transmit right into the other people's heads? Because then I think you're getting to a point where we really are just kind of like becoming the Borg at that point, right?
Yeah. There's another one that I feel like we're building towards.
Yeah, I mean, like I feel like this is kind of like coming.
I mean, it
but
already kind of like, if you think about it,
I mean,
it
the walls
already
of
kind-
privacy have already been kind of like toppling down over time anyway.
if you look at all the different streams of metadata that these companies have access to now, they've got your call logs, so they know your associates, your direct associates, and then they've got your Google.
They know where you go, what you're
your
interested
positioning.
in. I mean, like
They
how
know-
often has
yeah.
it happened where you're like thinking about buying something and then all of a sudden you're bombarded with ads for it, you know?
Yep. So it's already kind of happened. Your inner thoughts and desires are kind of laid bare, at least in a broad way.
I feel
already.
like I feel like trying to give up, that trying to be like, no, I'm gonna be like a holdout for this is kind of just like, I don't know. You're basically just like, leave me behind, you know, like humanity, just you go on. You've gone too far. I'm gonna be the new Amish.
I mean, a lot. The vast majority of people in this country don't participate on Twitter.
True.
So there may be a lot more holdouts than you think of people.
That's true. So I mean, you could have like, this could be an event that kind of fractures humanity too. So
Right.
there is that possibility of like, this is the point where it goes too far for many people, and there's like a lot of people like, no, we're not doing this anymore. This has gone too far. And there's gonna be people who are like, fuck you, join the collective, and then it really is kind of like almost like a Borg experience. But then it's like, can you just delve from one person's thought to the other, or do we start to network into like some sort of like, we all share sensations, we all share thoughts, we're no longer individuals, we're now sharing ideas collectively as this super intelligence?
You ever seen that movie Strange Days?
Yes.
It's basically about kind of about what we're talking about. And that one,
it's in a way more
There's a-
limited sense though, because it's like you have to take a specific memory thing and then put it in someone else's head, and then they got, oh wow, I'm experiencing. This would be like almost like where it's just like streaming nonstop.
right, you could search a person's thoughts and find out, it's just like having yourself be as known as possible in order to participate in this, which is,
I mean,
once again-
in some regards, this is what people want. Like, people want to be understood. People want to have their like feelings taken seriously and like what's going on inside of them.
well, and they're also
recognized-
in
But
they're
then
also
in other ways, it's
endlessly-
obviously like a nightmare too, because it's like any thought you have that's like unscrupulous or dishonest, or like you could never like again get away with a little white lie to somebody, even as something as simple as just like, how do you think this looks? And you're like, oh yeah, it looks great. And then they can just be like, nope, he doesn't really think that, So there's like no ability to fucking, even to preserve someone's feelings. It's just like you're instantly fucking laid bare in every way, in every respect. So I mean, like, that's a pretty intense proposition. But I think it is one worth considering, because once again, I think people have strived for so long to be understood in that way and with that level of intimacy.
Corporations, and we talk about this a lot. Corporations don't have social agendas; they ride them.
Right.
So, well, if they do have, okay, I'll take that back. They do have social agendas. They're not human. They're not human centric. They are exploitation centric. So, corporations really don't care who or what you are. It's people that have,
as long
that
as it's
kind of interest.
monetizable. Yeah.
Right. And the more they know about you, the more intimately they can know you, the better they can monetize to you. So that's what we're moving towards. That's what it's going to be. I don't know. I've already kind of chosen to eschew most of the social media thing, but I'm probably, part of the last generation that will do so broadly.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. Like you said, there are a lot of people who are holdddouts from this kind of stuff. I mean, I don't know what,
because there's a lot of people my age and a little younger than me that didn't grow up with this shit that have gone like,
I mean, it could vary. I mean, like,
dude, every fucking kid is on this shit. Every
The
kid,
Zoomer,
like,
I mean, like, but there could very easily come a generation that rejects this. Like, remember, like every generation wants to set itself apart from the one that came before it, and it might come to a point where it's like the way they do it
every
is like,
generation,
I eschew
it.
this.
Like, look at how much it changed just in our generation. I feel like
Oh, yeah.
every generation it changes enough to where the new version of it seems like that rebellion.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, I don't sit down and like hunch over a computer like my dad did. I don't have a laptop. I plug directly into my fucking data jack.
I don't plug into no data jack like some kind of loser. I just go right into the thought stream seamlessly.
So,
What if there's no opt out? What if it's just like all human minds will now be linked? There's nothing you can do.
yeah, I mean, that's likely what we're moving towards. I mean, we're already, because I can't opt out of being tracked and fucking metadated to death. You know what I mean? They still know everywhere I'm traveling. They still know all my associates and who I'm calling, who I'm texting.
Hermit HK7-13 variety. Yes.
Yep. You know, they know where I go. They know where I don't go. They know what I spend my money on. They know what's going on in my life in a broad, nondescript way. They know I have parents that are alive. They know I have siblings. They know I have relatives. You know what I mean? They know me in a very broad sense, and
Yeah.
and I don't really offer a whole lot of myself in that way.
Yeah. So, I mean,
So-
really I don't know. I don't know how avoidable it is, really.
Yeah, you're right. Here's another money-based question. If I gave you $1 million right now and then said double or nothing, you take the double or nothing on a 50-50 coin flip.
So you present me with $1 million.
Right now, yeah, I've got $1 million for you. I'm going to transfer it into your account. But before I hit go, I say, wait a minute. Double or nothing.
Double or nothing.
On a, and you can assume too, a perfect or reasonably perfect 50-50 coin flip.
Okay. So
You take
50-50 chance, 50% chance the $1 million is gone.
Right.
50% chance the $1 million is
two.
doubled. A bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. I hate to fucking lean on a cliche, but I mean, yeah, I think you got to take the $1 million you got.
Would you really do that though? If this, because it's easy to like fantasize about this and go like, oh, this is how I'd react. But what if that $1 million was right in your face?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, like $1 million is a pretty good payout, and I feel like
a $2 million's a lot better though.
It is better, but you know, like
It's
zero is a pretty shitty payout.
I think you could probably live pretty comfy for the rest of your life on a little more than $1 million. So that $2 million ensures that you and yours are taken care of in perpetuity.
Yeah.
The 1 million probably doesn't.
True. But you know, I mean, like that $1 million could be invested and stuff, and it might not double over the course of like, you know. But
all right, I'm about to transfer it in, TJ, to your account, but I'm just letting you know. Here it is, TJ. Look at this.
All right.
One call, one flip of the coin.
All right, let's see if I made the right decision or the wrong decision on this.
All right, so call it.
Heads.
You made the wrong decision.
Damn.
But let's say you made the right decision. Let's say you made the right decision. Let's say that you just got $2 million.
Mm-hmm.
I'm about to transfer that into your account. And then I look at you and I go, double or nothing. Two becomes 4.
Yeah.
On a 50-50 flip.
I mean, see, the problem is like all gambling, the greater the risk, the greater the reward. But
Right.
now the risk is fucking 2 million.
Your
and the
your
reward
exposure is
4
$2 million, but the win, calling this one more time, like you just did, $4 million. Now that's real money. Now you're talking about like, you know, especially these days, you live comfy and do whatever the fuck you want the rest of your life, and you'll have money to spare.
I mean, if you lose that shit, you're gonna be the idiot that fucking threw away $2 million. So,
but if you win it, you're going to be the fucking genius that turned $1 million into 4 with 2 coin flips.
Don't push your luck, you say, yeah. You know, honestly, like most gambling, this is just going to depend on my feeling in the moment. So, right now, I would say not feeling good about it. Rather keep the. I mean, I'd still just be at 1 million, but even assuming I did fucking have the balls to take it to 2, I don't think I'd have the balls to take it to 4. I don't have nerves of steel like that.
Well,
I'd
let's see if you made the right decision again. Call it.
Heads again.
Oh,
Damn.
you fucking walked from $3 million in the course of this exercise,
Yeah.
TJ. You walked with a piddly ass $1 million that you're probably gonna blow in a fucking couple years.
Yeah.
Just getting yourself set up, and then you're gonna have to work again, and you're gonna be like, fuck. But let's say you did have the balls to push it.
All right.
$4 million. I get it already. I'm about to hit the transfer button, and I look you in the eye and I say, double or nothing, TJ. Now 4 becomes 8.
I mean, $8 million.
Keep in mind, if you'd have gone with your true gambler soul, you'd be sitting on $4 fucking million during this decision. Need I remind you?
Yeah. All right. Let it ride on heads.
Oh, brutal. And there it is.
That's where you lose.
Damn. I expected you to take at least one of those. At least one. Willing.
Sorry. I'm too much of a pussy. $1
I
million
think you would.
$1 million is too much to throw away. Maybe you catch me in the right mood, I'd do it, but I don't know.
All right. I'll ask you a couple more of these. Will it ever be possible to make dark lamps where they like you turn it on and it shines out darkness during the day, you know? Dark lights.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I have no idea. Maybe there's some kind of like principle in like physics that I'm not aware of that would make that happen, but I'm aware of nothing that would make that work.
Dude, I think they could make a dark lamp, TJ.
All right,
I think
well,
they could do it. I think
I'll tell you what,
I think you're
if they
sounding
ever-
like
If they do make that, I will buy it.
a horseless carriage, sir.
Hey, I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying I'm unaware of any principle of physics that makes
I
it
just don't
possible,
think
so.
that's possible. You see, you need something at least as strong as a beast of burden to pull a card like that. No mechanism could reliably do that. What would be the power source, sir?
Indeed.
Simple steam can't be done. Shan't be done.
It can't be done, sir. Nay.
What do we call the bottom part of our wardrobe, trousers or pants, when it's one piece of clothing that we put on? Like it, so socks, plural,
Yeah, there's two
shoes,
socks, shoes,
plural, gloves, plural, right?
Yep.
We even take into account the plurality of our eyes. Pair of glasses, because it's 2 glasses, one for each
Or like,
eye.
I was gonna say like headphones, but like really, there's 2 of these things.
Yeah, headphone and 2 ears.
So I would assume that a pant must just be the tube that covers one leg, and therefore pants are 2 of those tubes that cover.
But why would
both
you
legs.
ever have a pant?
I don't know. You wouldn't really. You would only have 2.
They're only useful. I mean, I guess some people only have one leg, but setting them aside as a small amount of humanity.
I mean, that's the only thing that can make sense to me. Like, is if a pant or a trouser is just like one of these, and then to have 2 is you got pants. I don't know. Like that's the only way that makes any sense.
How about this one, TJ? If you knew where you were going to die,
Knew where I was going to die. Okay.
right? Do you believe that you could beat fate, or do you believe that fate would conspire to get you to that location so that you could die?
I mean, if you know where you're going to die,
yeah,
I don't think you could become immortal simply by not going to that place. I think that there's going to be something that's going to bring you there, no matter what you try. Like if you know, at the very like. The universe is not just going to let you get away with it. Like the universe is a weird place. And I know one thing I know about is like the universe is willing to bend physics, like bend time in order to prevent anything from going past the speed of light. The universe is willing to do all kinds of weird shit to prevent paradoxes. So if you were to do that, like something would happen to get you in that spot. You know, if it came down to like an alien coming to Earth and transporting you to that spot and immediately shooting you with a death ray, like it would happen. Something would happen.
right.
Something's going to get you there.
So not a believer in free will. I can skip that one. clearly you're a believer in a deterministic universe.
Yeah, I mean, to some extent, anyway.
All right. Here's your last question.
We love Paul Zigo. Yay!
Yay! I'm a movie buff. You're a movie buff. We've both watched a lot of movies. Probably think about movies more than the average Joe does.
Yeah, I would say that's fair.
What movie do you think has influenced you the most? Like made the biggest impact on you, changed the way that you look at media, changed what you expected, and entertained you in a way you didn't know you could be entertained? Everybody's got one.
Biggest impact like on life in general, eh?
Yeah, or just your perspective on film, your perspective on maybe your perspective on life as well. Sure. Movies are very deep.
Yeah, I mean, like movies can definitely have like pretty profound influences on people. So, I mean, there's definitely that element of things. It would probably be something I had seen early in life when I was more like, less jaded and, more open to like, extreme possibilities and things of that nature.
Sure.
I don't know. I feel like the answer to that is probably either Jurassic Park or Terminator 2 Judgment Day. But I don't really know why those two things are popping in my head. They came out around the same time.
Yeah,
Early
they're in the
90s.
same. Yeah, early
I was pretty
90s.
young when they came out.
Yeah,
I remember seeing.
I would have been
as a kid.
I would have been 12 when they came out. I think they came out in like 91, 92, right?
Yeah.
92 for Jurassic Park.
And I would be like
for
6, 7, but I probably
Right.
saw them a little after that. At least Terminator 2, I didn't see in theaters. I think I saw it like the next year or so when it got released on VHS.
Yeah.
I think that probably those two things just kind of changed my idea of like what was possible in a movie, but also I think opened my mind to some interesting like science fiction possibilities that I'd never really considered before, and kind of got me interested in that sort of like realm of what could be done with science and technology. Because not only what they were able to accomplish on the screen, but what those movies are about. The idea of a human being having a relationship with a machine was something I'd never really been exposed to before until I saw Terminator 2. And then later it was kind of like fleshed out more with like Star Trek: The Next Generation and stuff. And then, the idea of taking an extinct animal and bringing it back to life through genetics. So these movies
It wakes
kind of
up your imagination to scientific possibility.
Right. And I think both those things did that for me. And obviously I didn't end up becoming a scientist because of it or something, but I'm still a pretty ardent science fiction viewer and occasional reader. So,
well, you're kind of a futurist too. You like to talk
right.
about
I do embrace
possible-
like transhumanism and different possibilities. So yeah, I mean, I think those movies had a pretty profound impact in that way.
All right.
Here's TJ Paul Zigo alluded that earlier. No question asked. You piece of shit. No, thank you for your money. Child's Play too, as well. I don't know what it is about. That was probably the most profound, like I've ever been scared.
Yeah.
Was when I was flipping through channels and I saw a scene of Chucky murdering a teacher in Child's Play 2. And I only saw that scene in isolation. It was so fucking horrifying that I literally made my mom remove all the stuffed animals and like anthropomorphic toys out of the fucking house and stuff. And to the point where I was literally like begging her to take Scotty's like little Pooh Bear doll away.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I'm scared of Pooh Bear now. And like a few months later or whatever, I loved Chucky. I started watching those movies and it was like totally a reversal. I started to embrace it. But like that first time, I don't think I've ever been scared like that before by a movie. So like, I don't know, it ignited something of like this like deep primal fear. And there's something about that, that I still seek watching horror movies to this day, something to fucking really like rattle me to that degree. And obviously it
never really does.
It's not going to happen again.
It fades with age for sure.
I don't have as many fears as I don't even fucking, I actually was pretty surprised the other day because I was picking something like Corn Pop snuck into the fucking garage and fucking knocked over his food and stuff. And you know, I was out there cleaning it up. And there was a big fucking giant spider, like this fucking big, that like basically was like right next to my fucking hand. And I mean, just like a couple years ago, I'd have just fucking, my butthole would have just clenched in fear, and I'd have just fucking shot up like a, and I was just like, yeah, fucking spider, you know. And it's just like I'm not even that scared of spiders anymore. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like the fear just, I mean,
No,
no,
it's just because you have an entire life, you know, 40, close to 40 years worth of life, and you know, big spiders have never really done anything bad to you.
Right. Like I've never had the moment where like the giant spider fucking did some kind of grievous harm to my person. And like eventually the childhood irrational, oh my God, a spider fear, you know, it just fades. And, you know, I mean, the things that scare me are less and less. And, you know, I've been around longer and stuff. So, I mean, like, but I still have the memory though of that, like of what that felt like, that profound sort of fear and shit. And, you know, I think there's something useful about that. In life.
I think if you talked to a lot of people about this question, a lot of people would pick movies in the horror genre or with strong horror elements too, because like mine is Night of the Living Dead, the 68 one. And I feel like that movie really aged up with me. Like I saw it for the first time when I was probably 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And it was literally just that primal fear of like, oh my God, they're trying to get people, run, get away. Oh, they're gross and they're evil. You know what I mean? All that revolt, that was real scared of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I got older, it was the human drama of it. I started to understand the dynamic in the room and like how desperate these people were to survive. That added something else that I could dive into. And then, you know, I became aware of the racial dynamic happening, that's a huge component of the movie. And then I became aware of the overarching social commentary of, you know, having a zombie movie and what that says about our culture and shit. And so it just really like gave me, it's a movie that stayed with me. Like it really changed what I expect from a movie too.
Yeah, I totally feel you on that.
So yeah, that's those are my deep questions. That's I got.
I mean, if you think about it too, I mean, just one more point on that. Sure. That last one is, I mean, really, like, even though I wouldn't necessarily qualify Jurassic Park or Terminator 2 as horror movies, they're definitely movies with horror elements to them. So, like, there's monsters and there's scenes of monsters, you know, destroying people and you know, a horrifying future is presented in Terminator 2.
Well, there's tons of body horror in Terminator 2 as well, with the flesh stripping off of the machine and the, you know, there's a lot of that, a lot of injury and death. And
so, yeah, I mean, I think there is something profound about that particular genre. I think there's like an honesty to it that maybe is lacking from some other genres. But yeah, I don't know. I love those movies though. I haven't watched either one of those in a while, though. I guess I saw Terminator 2 not that long ago. I actually like Terminator 1 better at this point, but I still have a special place for
dude. Yeah, I rewatched Terminator 1 recently, and I forgot like how good that movie was.
Oh, it's fucking great. I mean, it's really.
I had this kind of shitty opinion that had stayed with me from when I was a teenager, when that movie came out, when I really loved it and rewatched it a bunch of times. That like, oh, Terminator 2 is great. It's way better than Terminator 1. That was just like locked in. So every time I got the hankering to see one, I was like, well, why watch the inferior first one when I went back and watched the first one. I was like, God damn, this Terminator 1 way cooler than I remember it being.
It's fucking badass. It's super gritty. And honestly, in a lot of ways, I think it's aged better.
Yeah,
but you know, I mean, that could change too. Like we could 10 years from now, the sentiment could reverse again, you know, but, I think it depends a lot on what time you're looking for it in and what time in your life you're in and but I don't know, like the thing about that I liked about the first Terminator better than the second is that there's like a grittiness and a harshness to it that I think is like softened up for that second one. It's still, I mean, they still have like, you know, this horrifying future presented and stuff, but like, now there's a wisecracking kid, and a lot more
Yeah,
fucking comedy breaks and stuff.
It was definitely made with like trying to draw young people in as well.
Sure, yeah, and I mean it's a great movie. I'm not,
and I don't
taking
think
anything away from it.
Terminator was made for a bring your kids audience. So
no, it's definitely more of a fucking gritty like 80s fucking. I mean, pretty much a straight up horror movie, really.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't know if you want to do this tournament. I have this tournament here.
Yeah, we could do that. Let me go fill up my cup and get something to drink.
You go right ahead.
I'll be right back.
Sure thing.
Keep them warm, TJ.
Oh yeah, we'll do. I'll fucking put this on up. We'll get to that in a minute, though. Don't you guys fret. Oh yeah. Anyone if you guys are enjoying the show, we do appreciate your super chats and stuff here. YouTube, I don't know if you guys know this. They don't monetize anything on this channel. We qualify for monetization. We technically have monetization on this channel, but they don't monetize a single thing that we do anywhere on this whole channel. So it's entirely you guys that support us here, and we deeply, deeply appreciate that. We don't feel like that. We're not ass kissers though. We're not going to sit here and suck your fucking cocks and and kiss your asses, but we are appreciative. Just so you fucking know. When Arnold killed like 25 cops in T1 LMAO, I mean, that's a great fucking scene. Athey tits. Yes, I agree. I agree with you. Rambo 1 had a great message to its story. I'll be completely honest. I've never seen the fucking first Rambo. I know that I should have, but I've actually never seen it. I've pretended to see it because I just don't want someone to force me to watch it. I'll tell you this though. I have actually been watching is Tulsa King. Tulsa King, is that what it's called? With Sylvester Stallone. It's like his new show. I kind of just watched the first episode like to laugh at it, like this should be fucking dog shit. And I mean, it is kind of stupid, but it's actually a pretty fucking fun show to watch. I don't know if anyone's like looking for something to watch that's like maybe like a little bit silly but kind of serious. I think Tulsa King's a pretty cool show. The first episode, basically Stallone just goes around punching everybody, which is kind of fun. But yeah, I don't know. Actually pretty fucking good movie so far. Good show so far. Only 2 episodes in, so it could easily fucking go to total shit. But for now, I would say honestly pretty goddamn entertaining. So
Which
surprising. Tulsa King with Sylvester Stallone.
Oh,
I kind of watched the first episode.
That.
I watched the first episode as like a lark. I was just kind of like Stallone show, and then I was like, it's actually not too bad. It's actually pretty fucking entertaining. Not great. It's not Shakespeare or something, but you could do fucking worse. I'll tell you that. But only 2 episodes in, so it could easily go to shit still. But actually kind of fun. I don't know. They kind of have like a little bit of like a Sopranos thing going on. Not nearly as smart or brilliant as the Sopranos, obviously, but like, I don't know, like the Sopranos for dummies, which I'm kind of a dummy, so I'll watch that.
What's a movie with a lot of Twinkie femboys?
Party
seen
Monster?
the movie? Yeah, I'm just about to say Party Monster with Macaulay Culkin and fucking
bunch of other dudes.
Dylan McDermott.
Yeah, and they're all dressed as like super Twinkie nightclub going gay dudes.
There's tons of femboy booty in that movie for sure, and it's actually a pretty cool flick too.
And it's a murder movie, so that's kind of cool.
It has Seth Green in it, but don't let that word you away because he's in a role that at least hides his normal unlikable self. He has to act like somebody else that's unlikable, which, you know what I mean? It makes it okay. But yeah, no, good movie. Yep, there you go.
Not too bad. As far as other ones like, I don't know. I can't think of any other femboy.
That's the first one that came. Yeah, that's the first. Like that's the only movie I think I associate with that.
Yeah, which is kind of a shame. There should be more.
Well, but anyway. You know what, dude? The movie Milk had some pretty nice.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Femboy ass in it.
Yeah, go find yourself some gay movies. You're bound to find something there. Sure. Anyway, it's time for a little tournament here. We got not a huge tournament. We've done double elimination in the past. This one is a single elimination. I don't want it to go on forever.
Who is that?
That is Tim Pool without his beanie.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Is that a Photoshop?
No.
Ah!
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm not even trying to shame like bald dudes, just to this one particular bald dude.
I agree with you. You know, I always tell people it's not really the attribute, it's the soul that carries it. And you know, there's definitely dudes who can rock being bald. This is not one of them.
Well, you know, like if he wasn't holding on for dear life to that hairline, which has already disappeared past the back of his head, and just went totally bald, kept his beard and shit, he might look kind of good on him, honestly.
Yeah, but yeah, this like he can't own it at all. So
yeah, this like fucking college professor bald up here. He like, and there's some dudes that pull that off. Yeah. Like this type of bald, like Bernie Sanders is this type of bald.
Robert Picardo, the doctor from Voyager, he has this exact same kind of baldness, and he looks fucking fine. I mean, like Jean-Luc Picard and fucking TNG. You know, like I don't know. There's like plenty of dudes who can rock baldness. Tim Pool, not one of them, because he's so too clearly ashamed of it. And well,
that's what I think it is. That's what I think makes this happen, is that he is so iconically, I always got my beanie on, and I think a lot of people like me assumed that it was just a stylistic choice. Like he's a late 90s kid and he likes the skate fucking shit and he wears a beanie all the time. But knowing now that it's not a stylistic thing, it's to hide this.
Yeah.
You know, that's fucking brutal.
That's what we got. Okay, so here's our competitors. This is, by the way, a bitch boy slap fight tournament. Okay.
You want to explain to the people what a bitch boy slap fight is for those that may not know?
Yeah, so for those of you who are not familiar, there was an old meme on our old show from long ago where Paul would sing a song called Bitch Boy Slap Fight.
I basically ripped off the Team America World Police theme without knowing it.
Yeah, and it's basically when two guys who are not overtly masculine dudes engage in a battle of mostly slaps.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about. Now,
like neither one can fight, and so they just kind of impotently, weakly, noodly.
Yeah.
And that's true of all the people that I see on the list here. So
right. So, that's what we got for you. So let's just go over very briefly our competitors, and you'll fucking get the idea of what a bitch boy slap fight is as we go along, I'm sure. So, Tim Pool, age 36, height 5'10". Okay. And that's his stated height. Now, I think a lot of times dudes like Tim Pool exaggerate their height. I'm going to say that probably everyone on this list is probably a little shorter than what they say.
They definitely are the types of guys that would lie about their height to squeeze in a couple inches or whatever. So, yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if Tim Pool was like 5'8".
So I was reluctant to put old Kermit in here because I like Kermit. I think most people like Kermit, but, we got to be honest about Kermit. He is a bitch boy. All right. Like there's no denying that Kermit's a little bit of a bitch.
I mean, isn't Kermit just a romantic and a dreamer? I don't really think of Kermit as a bitch boy, but he definitely is not a fighter.
Yeah, he's not a fighter. I mean, look, he gets pushed around by Miss Piggy. He gets pushed around by really his whole cast of people, but they do rely on him. I mean, he has some leadership qualities.
That's more of like a cuck than a.
Yeah, I mean, he's a little bit of a cuck, but I think that
like a bitch boy is particular, like just nerdy and flabby and white, and likes to pretend it's masculine, but it's not.
Yeah, so I think that maybe Kermit is a little bit misrepresented on this list, but I had to round out I was trying to get to 8 people, and I didn't want to fucking put yet another conservative commentator on there in the form. I was thinking about Nick Fuentes, but I'm like, I already have Tim Pool and Ben Shapiro on here. I don't really want that segment overrepresented, so Kermit was the one I chose, but yeah, I do kind of feel bad about putting Kermit on here. But anyway.
And does winner or loser advance? Is the person that lost the
winner
bitch boy
advances?
Because think about it though.
Yeah.
What if we did it in reverse? Because the person that loses the most bitch boy slap fight is the ultimate fucking bitch boy, right? Not the dominant one.
That's true. But, maybe we can fucking say that whoever wins graduates to like one rung above bitch boy. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's scheduled for winter, but yeah, I mean, like, obviously why isn't Tucker Carlson here? Because once again, too many conservative commentators already. But anyway, yeah, I get where you're coming from, but I do want to advance the winner because I want to see who's the toughest bitch boy. I almost feel like, so the way this is in my mind is almost like we're part of like the underground bitch boy slap fight circuit where people
Right.
are like paying to watch bitch boys slap fight, and really they're
Slap
all
club.
losers. Yeah, it's like slap club, and we're just kind of like the promoters, and we're like, yeah, let's see who wins.
But instead of like a cool dungeon under a bar, it takes place in some fucking nerd's bedroom, and we got to be quiet because mom and dad are trying to sleep. You know
yeah,
what
but
I
we
mean?
still want to know who's gonna win. Which
Right.
bitch boy is less bitch boy than the other, you know?
Yeah.
So our next
Now-
contender is Ben Shapiro,
Oh God. Well,
38
yeah.
years old, 5'6". And then he is going to be facing off in the first round against Woody Allen. I did not put the Jews together. That was just random chance. Okay. He is 86 years old and he is 5'5". Okay.
I mean, yeah. Woody Allen. I don't know. Well, I guess we'll talk about it as we go. But
Yeah, I mean, like this is something to consider as we go along. Andy Dick. I mean, you're not going to deny that Andy Dick is a bitch boy, right?
no. I mean, he's made his whole career being a bitch boy.
Right.
So
So he is 56 years old at this point. He is 5'10", probably more like 5'8" IRL, but whatever. He claims 5'10". So here's one that kind of surprised me when I actually looked at the stats. This is Jeb Bush, who Jeb Bush, I definitely think of him as a weak, limp-wristed bitch boy.
he is.
He is 69 years old, and he is 6'3".
Yeah.
Fucking not a. I mean, it just goes to show you, bitch boy is on the inside. It's not a matter of
Oh, yeah.
physicality. It's a matter of mentality. Okay.
Yeah, bitch boys are born. They're not made. You know what I mean? You can't you be a big, strong bitch boy. They, you know, it just. Usually they're not, but hey, yeah, him just being that tall means he's. Oh God, why'd you
Rob
do this
Schneider,
to us?
59 years old, 5'3". 5'3".
It's just a welterweight bitch boy.
Wil Wheaton.
I gotta tell you,
Yeah.
when I say the word and hear, because it's a word that's underused, especially now, according to my lexicon and stuff. You hardly ever hear bitch boy. So when I hear bitch boy come out of somebody, Wil Wheaton's face is the face I see. But let me ask you a question. He's always wearing his ensign uniform. So does that mean that I hate Wesley Crusher?
I mean, Wesley Crusher does suck, for sure.
Right.
As far as whether Wil Wheaton sucks or not, I have no idea. He is a little bit of an SJW woke scoldy kind of guy, but I mean, whatever. He's better than at least he's not a fucking Nazi. His age is 50. His height is 5'11". It's kind of crazy that Wil Wheaton is fucking 50, by the way.
Yeah,
But
that
he
is. That's disturbing.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Kind of nuts. Anyway, the rules are pretty simple. For each competitor, we're going to roll a die. And if it comes up odd, they get a disadvantage. If it comes up even, they get an advantage. But before we determine that, we determine where this fucking slap fight is taking place with the random item generator. All right?
Dun, 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 dun.
So once again, our first battle, Tim Pool versus Kermit the fucking Frog. All right? Where is that battle going to take place?
Doodly-doodly-doodly-doodly.
What do we got?
Doodly-doop.
The side deck of a Hawaiian cruise ship.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, all right. Yeah, I can picture that.
Yeah, so just like not the forward deck, the side deck. So basically just like, almost like a kind of like a little glorified hallway, but it has some railing.
Yeah.
And
Maybe
then
the
over
shuffleboards on there,
Yeah, over the edge of that railing is the ocean.
Yep.
And on the other side of that railing are maybe some cabins or like a game room or something like that.
Narrow and limited in terms of one axis of movement for sure.
Right. So it's longer than it is wide, but it's not super narrow either because like it requires a good bit of fit traffic. We'll say it's maybe like 10 feet wide, or maybe a little less than that, maybe 8. 8 to 10.
So we're doing Tim Pool and Kermit, right?
Yes. So let's find out. We're gonna do Tim Pool first because he comes first in the order.
Sure.
And once again, if it's odd, he gets a disadvantage. If it's even, he gets an advantage. All right.
Okay.
So let's see what we got here. Boop. So it is odd. So Tim Pool gets a disadvantage in the fight. So I believe the disadvantage.
You mean a disadvantage beyond being Tim Pool?
Well, obviously they all have the disadvantage of being bitch boys.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. These are the disadvantages. Let's see which one he gets. slapping hand still hurts from last slap fight.
Oh wow. So he's been a
So his
busy
hand
boy.
is a little sore. He's just been in a slap fight recently, and his hand is fucking
That does mean he's probably gonna be slapping a little less hard for less blowback.
There's gonna be a little bit less confidence in that slap, you know.
Yeah,
he's not necessarily gonna fucking do the slap as hard, you know. He's gonna be I don't know. But I mean, look, he still knows he's in a slap fight for his life here. So, like, you know, I wouldn't say he's going to go too easy on it. All right. So, we already got the fucking play. So now it's time to roll for Kermit. Will Kermit be similarly disadvantaged, or will Kermit get an advantage? Kermit is also odd. So Kermit will also be coming in with a handicap. What will that be?
Let's take a look.
Let's see what it's going to be. 1 minute days of confusion.
Okay, so yeah. He's just like, he took a little bit too much weed and he's he needs a minute to get himself together.
Yeah, so Kermit is dazed and confused, but only for a minute.
Right.
Only for a minute. But can Kermit survive that minute? That's the real question here.
I imagine, so here's how I see this playing out.
Yeah.
Correct me if you think otherwise. Tim Pool, especially with that sore hand, he's got to be one of the least impressive bitch boys here. He's in my mind very low tier bitch boy slap fighter in general.
Yeah.
Whereas, correct me if I'm wrong, Kermit the Frog I think knows karate.
I'm not sure. Let me look that up.
Kermit the Frog, I seem to remember seeing Kermit the Frog in like karate gi. And I know that on Muppet Babies, Kermit the Frog would sometimes do kung fu and shit. So I'm pretty sure Kermit knows fucking karate. And if that's the case,
does Kermit know karate? Dun, 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 dun. Wrong, Kermit. Miss Piggy knows karate.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking
does
of.
Kermit know karate? I'm not finding anything about Kermit knowing karate. Just like looking through this, I do see some pictures of him in a gi, but they don't look official. So I'm gonna say that Kermit probably does not know karate.
All right. Well, fair enough. Faulty memory.
At least
we'll
not.
just assume he doesn't.
If he might have known it in one form or another, I'm going to assume it was just like it was like maybe something done for like a quick gag.
We'll take this into account too. Kermit is a bitch boy, but his slapping arm is powered by somebody who may not be a bitch boy.
That's true too. And the thing about Kermit too is like you see him, he flails pretty hard. He's like
he does.
Like he's got the flailing arms. But Kermit has a serious height disadvantage too, because Kermit's about 2 feet tall. And if he's dazed and confused, I gotta believe Tim Pool is not even gonna bother with the slapping. He's just gonna pick him up and throw him off that fucking deck because the ocean's right there. Kermit's like, Tim Pool. I mean, he might not be much of a slap fighter, but if Kermit's dazed and confused and Tim Pool's slapping hand's hurting anyway, I think he's just gonna grab Kermit, throw him off the fucking thing. Because Kermit don't weigh that much. Even Tim Pool could pick him up, right?
Right.
So I'm thinking it's probably just gonna be Tim Pool, just based on the fact that he's just going to throw Kermit off the fucking edge. I mean, I don't know what's going to prevent him from doing that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
Isn't Kermit a puppet controlled by a guy? I mean, well, in this instance, Kermit is Kermit's just Kermit, bro. We're not looking at like behind the scenes shit. This is Kermit the Frog, the character, versus Tim Pool, the guy. Like maybe Tim Pool's too stupid to even use his advantage.
I think you know what I think it is?
What?
He has to get too close to the edge, and Tim Pool's gonna be scared that the fucking ocean breeze is gonna blow that beanie off his head and reveal.
You think Tim Pool's gonna be spending too much time like worrying about the beanie coming off?
Yeah, as he goes in, he's gonna look at how breezy it is out there on the edge of the deck, and he's gonna be part of his thought that should be towards killing this frog is going to be on his beanie coming off in the wind. He does not.
Because remember, this is what's going to be revealed if he does, He doesn't necessarily want this.
Everybody on the cruise ship is going to know.
Yeah,
So-
it's not necessarily something he wants to happen. I mean,
I think that's a distinct disadvantage in the scenario that you presented, is that his mind is going to be in several different places. It's going to be on his bitchy little kind of sore hand, and
Right.
it's going to be on that beanie stand secure on his head.
Plus, I mean, Kermit the Frog is, like a literal fucking frog Muppet thing. So, I mean, like Tim Pool might be kind of shocked to see Kermit up and walking around. That's kind of like a horrifying thing,
Dude, how about this scenario?
Yeah.
So he goes over, he grabs Kermit, right? Kermit's flailing around.
And knocks
throws
the beanie off.
Yeah, he throws Kermit over the edge, but as Kermit's going over the edge, he reaches up and slaps that beanie off of his head. Did Tim Pool really win if the whole cruise can now see the baldness that he tries to hide?
Does
You know what I
Kermit
mean?
does Kermit say something as he's falling?
It's kind of like one of those fighting game situations where one dude, kind of like falls off the stage and the other dude lands a hit right at the end.
No, Woody Allen's going to compete as his current self. He's not going to compete. We're not going to age anyone down or anything like that,
No,
No one
like
gets
for
that.
Woody Allen, being old is part of his bitch boy status.
Right. So
Like that's part of what
no
makes
one-
him a bitch boy.
No one's going to get any exemptions for age or infirmity or any of that shit.
No.
It is what it is. Like these fights are going to shake out how they shake out. We don't care about fairness here on Bitch Boy Slap Fight Tournament, okay? That's not important to us.
True.
So who wins then, ultimately? I mean, one thing, I'm inclined to push Kermit through, but, like one thing you brought up is Kermit really a bitch boy in the first place? Maybe it's best
Right.
to just let Kermit be left behind so that the real bitch boys can
Because
fight.
like grabbing a puppet off some dude's arm and throwing it off a ship is a total bitch boy maneuver,
Yeah.
And so of course Tim Pool's gonna win that part of the bitch. But would Kermit do the same? I don't think so.
No.
I think Kermit would try and do a stand-up bitch boy slap fight, which makes
I think let Kermit lose, but with dignity, with the dignity of having stripped that beanie off of Tim Pool's head and taken it with him into the fucking briny depths,
Yeah, however it happens, whether it happens as he goes over the edge or it blows off before Tim Pool gets a chance to throw him.
I think it ends with I think this scenario ends with everybody pointing and laughing at Tim Pool on the ship. Well,
Because that's a windy environment. We have to take that into account.
I
And
think
Tim
Kermit
Pool's gonna
is just sitting on a rock wearing Tim Pool's beanie, singing Rainbow Connection and having a fucking chill time,
It may be a disadvantage that comes back to haunt Tim Pool later in the bracket, as I think he is going to move on. Let's let Kermit respectfully retire here in the first bout because he's not. I don't think he's a bitch boy. The way I think of a bitch boy.
So Tim Pool wins, but really loses.
Right. I mean, I think that's kind of everybody in this. That's a hallmark of the true bitch boy slap fight is that there are no winners. Not really.
All right.
Like.
No, everyone's a loser. Even if you
Yes.
win, you still lose. All right. Ben Shapiro, Woody Allen. It's time for the battle of our Jewish competitors. Once again, I did not plan it that way. This is totally random seated bullshit.
Mhm. Yeah, we believe you, TJ.
Thank you.
We believe you.
Let's see where they're gonna fight. I'm gonna take this one out of contention here. What is it? The side of the side deck of a wine cruise ship. That's no longer a possibility. Let's see what we get. Bump, 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 bump. The bridge of the USS Enterprise from TNG.
Cool. Is it manned or no?
Yeah, the bridge crew is there,
The
but
whole crew.
yeah, I mean, like everybody that you would expect to be there is there, but they're not going to participate or interfere. That's just
maybe they sanction it. Maybe
right. Maybe it's like they saw the Captain Picard has been persuaded that the only way for this situation to resolve itself is if he allows the bitch boy slap fight to unfold. So the bridge crew is there, but they are not participating. Worf is standing by, but here, I'll put it up on the screen. We'll go. Some of Wil Wheaton is not there since he's one of our competitors later on.
Dude, the biggest Chad on the ship, Riker, is standing there with his arms crossed, just shaking his head.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Oh, man, thank goodness this isn't one of my sons,
TNG bridge. I'm going to pull it up just in case we need it for visual reference here.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I really like this one. I think is especially with your caveat that nobody's going to jump in. I really don't think this one is going to be like a very consequential environment. I think this is going to be a pretty easy, straight up bitch boy slap fight here.
I don't think we're going to see much there in terms of that, but this is the bridge.
Because there's not a lot of loose objects. There's some stuff for them to trip over, but
yeah, I mean, like there's some things that could be hidden behind or things of that nature, but really like
coward. Yeah, you could cower behind some of this stuff, I guess.
Yeah, you know, but really there's not going to be too much there to present anything. But let's see if anything in our dice rolls changes anything, right? So Ben Shapiro, will he get an advantage or a disadvantage?
Oh, yeah.
Looks like Ben Shapiro will be our first contender with an advantage in the fight.
I mean, he has an advantage over all these contenders already in that he's the sexiest contender.
Surprise attack. Opponent advantage nullified automatically. So even if Woody were to get an advantage, it will just be nullified, but he might actually get a disadvantage.
Yeah,
so
this is a situational one to draw for sure.
Woody also would have gotten advantage, but it's nullified by the dice roll that Ben got. So Woody has neither an advantage nor disadvantage. He's just there, but Ben Shapiro will get a surprise attack on old Woody Allen on the Starship Enterprise here. So
yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I think Ben has, especially now that Kermit's gone, the most Chad energy on the list tonight. I think there's a lot of real beta bottom bitch boys on the list, and I really think I think like Ben Shapiro is probably a power top, and I think he's probably the only one on this list, the only power top on the list. Not that he's not a bitch boy, but I think that he's got a little bit of an advantage, especially going into somebody as old and infirm and utterly simpering and weak.
Yeah, Woody Allen does not have much in the way of physicality here.
And I really feel like Woody Allen is on the other end.
Both of them these guys are about the same size. Obviously, there's a tremendous youth advantage on Ben Shapiro's part.
And I think it just settles into a natural type. I think Ben is going to go looking for like a sub to Dom. And Woody is looking for a Dom to sub. You know what I mean? He wants to submit himself, and Ben wants him to submit. I really think this one's weighted towards Ben Shapiro, and especially since neither of them really gets a distinct advantage. They kind of cancel each other.
Ben Shapiro gets a surprise attack. So I mean, like he gets to fucking rear back and do the first hit, and if he gets, if Ben Shapiro gets a fucking surprise attack, he's gonna fucking make it count as best as possible. He's gonna do that whole full body tilt,
right? Because he's a bitch boy, it might not connect fully, but I don't think you need to against Woody Allen. I think Woody Allen's gonna go over like a fucking house of cards and immediately call his security, and at that point, you've lost the bitch boy slap fight.
There's not going to be a call for security. They got to fight to the fucking till
well, I mean that's a logical end to most bitch boy slap fights. Somebody's mom gets called. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Woody Allen's mom is dead, though.
I do think that whether it was good for him or not, I do think that Woody Allen would supplicate himself almost immediately and start screaming for security, even if it was not an option for him.
He'd be looking for Worf and shit. Do something.
Come on, Worf. Where's this ship
Captain,
security?
You can't let this happen, Captain.
I mean, come on. You're the head security officer. Could you look at this man? He's assaulted me here. And that's, to me, that's like going, Mom, Jacob hit me in the face.
But Ben knows. Oh shit. Well, whatever. Ben knows the score, though, I think. So Ben's not going to stop hitting Woody just because Woody's crying foul. I think Ben is going to. In my thing, I feel like Ben Shapiro knocks him over one of these consoles, maybe with his slap, just because he's so weak and shit. And he's calling security. I think Ben just goes right through this little middle divider part and just starts slapping Woody Allen on the ground, yeah, take that, you little motherfucker. Just
yeah.
So I think he just starts slapping him on the ground. Maybe even fucking grabs him and starts shaking him a little bit, take that. I think maybe Woody Allen starts he doesn't. I think Woody Allen, the most he really does is he starts doing that shit where he like starts like, no, pushing on his face and shit, and Ben's just gonna like knock that shit aside.
I gotta be honest with you. I could see this whole bitch boy slap fight going down, and Woody Allen doesn't make a single offensive move.
I think the most he gets is that whole like holding his hands out and maybe like touching him a little bit, and that's pretty much about it.
Maybe, yeah. I really think that Woody Allen, maybe more than anybody on this list, is not ready for the albeit fake Chad energy coming off of Ben Shapiro. He's not Ben is not a Chad, but he believes he's a Chad, and Woody does not believe that he's a Chad.
Woody is not laboring under any delusions of Chaddom.
No. And Woody has got to be at least one of the physically least capable people on this list as well, not just due to his age, just due to being Woody Allen. So yeah, I can't conceive of Woody Allen really winning this one. I don't know about you.
I have to agree with you on that.
For it?
No, I mean, I've tried in my brain to come up with something. I mean, maybe if the advantage to disadvantages were like a little different, but like the fact that Ben gets that surprise opening salvo and shit, and the fact that he's just so much younger and sprier and, actually has a little bit of muscle mass at least, I think just pretty much seals Woody's fate. I don't know if there's anyone on this list that Woody Allen could actually beat, to be honest with you. I think even Rob Schneider would give him trouble. So yeah, I'd say it has to shake up the way that it shook up.
Yep.
But if me and Paul do disagree on something, it will be up to our patrons to settle who wins.
Oh,
not
boy.
you plebs out there. We love you. We love you for watching us, but you do not get to decide. Our patrons will decide.
The eternal tiebreaker.
I have a poll ready to go the second me and Paul get an impasse. But me and Paul do tend to agree on a lot, so you might not get the chance. But if it does come down to that.
Yeah, I don't look at these as like all that competitive. It's more narrative driven, and you add something, I add something, and we come up with a picture of a fight in our head. But yeah, if we do disagree, we need it settled.
There might come a point where we're like, I think it would go down like this, and you think it'd go down like that.
Yeah, I mean, on a 3-man show, there would be an automatic spoiler built in, but
yeah, now it's gonna be up to the patrons. So here's one that might actually be a little tougher to determine. Andy Dick versus Jeb Bush.
Yeah. Yeah,
so I can see that there's some factors at play, but let's see how it shapes up in terms of this other stuff. So let's get rid of the bridge from TNG because we don't want to have the same location twice. Let's see where this motherfucker is going to happen. In a high school auditorium during prom. All right.
Shit.
Okay.
Yeah. So I've been in one of these. I actually attended a prom. And yeah, these can be chaotic environments. There's like all kinds of tables and chairs.
Yeah,
there's
a lot of
really
stuff,
bad decorations and a bad DJ playing bad fucking top 40 music. And there's a bunch of teenagers who are unpredictable and angsty themselves. That
you might fucking step on the wrong toe and maybe someone else gets involved. Who fucking knows?
Yeah, I mean the crowd might join in. It might become like a multi-way bitch boy slap fight.
Sex offender Andy Dick in a crowd of teenagers. I mean,
yeah, he's gonna. Wow, I didn't even think of that, but great.
A lot of teenage boys and teenage girls there that might be distracting for Andy. So,
well, let's just not even be coy with it. It will be distracting to Andy Dick,
right? For sure. So let's see if Andy maybe Andy will get an advantage with the dice roll, though.
Yeah, hopefully,
all right, looks like he will.
Hopefully, not sexually arousable is on this list.
Yeah, so. It's not, but let's see. See what he gets.
Let's take a look.
Secretly well hung and capable of surprise dick slap maneuver, which his dick will be hard at the prom. So,
and this is a really a good one for Andy Dick to have. Too.
It's extremely appropriate for Andy Dick. Yes.
Yeah, it seems right. And you know what? I think there's a chance that Andy Dick is fucking hung like a horse.
Yeah, I think you're actually right. If I was to guess that any of these people on this list were secretly packing a fucking kielbasa,
yeah,
it would probably be Andy Dick. So,
and on the other end of that spectrum, we can start talking about Jeb Bush, who feel
if Jeb Bush gets an advantage, these dice are faulty because Jeb Bush never gets an advantage. Okay,
I mean, you and I are tall guys. Jeb Bush is 6'3". Yeah. We're both living proof that tall, big dude does not equal huge dick.
No, it does
And
not.
so I think that same thing is true for Jeb Bush. I think Jeb Bush has probably got a little bit of a substandard pecker. And so that's going to be really stunning when Andy whips out.
When Andy fucking inevitably probably is. I mean, like, if it was anyone else, I would say, like, it'd be hard to work in the dick thing. But with Andy Dick, I mean, come on. It's going to be the opening salvo.
I mean,
of his
please
fucking
clap.
battle.
Please clap is the ultimate little PP energy, you know?
It is. And of course, he's going to get a disadvantage because he's Jeb
I mean,
Bush.
yeah. Oh, boy.
So let's see. If we, let's take 1 minute of Day's Confusion off of the list. See what we got. Recovering from a cold. All right. So there's our battle. The factors are it's a high school gymnasium during prom. Andy Dick has got a huge fucking cock that he could whip out to slap Jeb with at any time. Jeb is recovering from a cold.
And, I think of Jeb as one of those people, and I'm one of those people too, so I'm not even judging people like this, but I'm thinking of Jeb as one of those people that needs to be taken care of when he gets any kind of illness.
Yeah.
You know?
He's definitely
even if it's like a little cold, he's just like, oh, man, I don't know. I just don't feel good, just whining about it constantly.
Whatever his wife's name is, here's
right.
Never ends in it,
And Andy Dick is at prom, so he's going to be coked up and fucked up.
Yeah, Andy Dick is 100% fucked up, and he is definitely ogling the fucking teenagers at prom, and his big dick has definitely got an erection, and he's probably wants to just end the slap fight quick so that he can get to what he really wants to do there, right?
I would imagine so. I think he would attack with like a drug-fueled je ne sais quoi, devil may care fury too, and armed with the stunning power of presenting a big dick to the obviously small PP Jeb Bush. I think that stun alone is going to make him open to at least the first attack. And Andy, if he's got his big dick, he's going to use that first. Like you said.
Let's be real too. Andy Dick is not going to fight fair. Andy Dick is one of the dirtiest fighting motherfuckers on the face of the earth. He's going to he's going to do the dick slap, but he's also going to fucking claw at your eyeballs. He's going to do everything. He's going to fight like a little kitty cat. He's going to be crazy. He's going to grab some fucking, he's going to grab the punch bowl and fling it at your fucking head. He's going to fight dirty as hell.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And
but Jeb does have this height advantage. He's a bigger guy. He's not going to go down as easy. He might be able to take some punishment. I mean, we know that Jeb can take a fucking licking and keep on ticking. That's one thing you could say for the guy. So he might be able to take a lot lot of damage.
I mean, he definitely bitches out harder than pretty much any other candidate, though. Like his like concession speeches are just so sheepish and pussified,
All these mentions of Andy and he doesn't appear here. What gives? Probably because his last name is Dick. I don't know.
True.
But I mean, like, I think that he's probably gonna be like have this like real like, oh man, come on now, come on, oh geez, energy to the whole fucking fight. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost impossible to imagine him getting too riled up. Because even when
the first hit's a dick whip too.
Yeah, I mean, like, he's going to get dick slapped. I mean, he's going to be stunned. I mean, he's recovering from a cold. He just wants some chicken noodle soup. And here comes Andy Dick's dick to slap him in front of a bunch of teenagers who are going to laugh their fucking asses off as second they see that. Be like, oh, you got dick slapped, dude.
It's his worst nightmare. It's like his actual prom.
I mean, I feel like he's just going to psychologically implode from that very moment on.
And he's got a cold, too.
Right.
So he's already feeling needy. Yeah.
I mean, I just feel like this is like the
this factors, is a slaughter.
Yeah, I mean, like, this is just going to be total slaughter. Like, Andy Dick is just going to destroy him. He's just going to fucking bitch slap him and smash the punch bowl over his head and kick him while he's down and then go ogle some fucking teenagers.
See, the only way Jeb could recover from the dick whip would be to whip out an even bigger dick and whip him back harder. But he can't do that.
Andy Dick's right. You know what? Andy Dick's fucking next move after he dick slaps him is probably going to be pants him.
Yeah.
And then show off how little his dick is to everybody. Like, look at that. Oh my God.
True. Yeah.
Look at that shriveled little thing. Oh my God. I feel bad for having to beat your fucking ass now, but I don't really.
Who ordered the cocktail shrimp? Cocktail shrimp for table 10.
I think this cocktail shrimp's lacking cock.
Oh man, I didn't know they had those little barbecue Vienna sausage hors d'oeuvres here. Look at that. It's over, dude. That whole place was like doubled over laughing.
I mean, even if Andy Dick just won the war, the psychological war with this, you know, like there's nothing left.
Yeah.
It can't be, you know, he just destroys him.
I mean, I would say that Jeb Bush is, you know, he's faced some withering critique.
Yeah.
And kept on going, but I don't think he's had a cold.
Here are my supreme rulers, and Paul's voice makes my Monday complete. I love you guys. You're both alpha male, manly men that reps will always talk about. Yep. That's us. Top tier alpha male material here.
I mean, amongst these dudes, we are. I think.
Definitely among these. All right, next battle. Good old Robbie Schneider versus Wil Wheaton. Wil Wheaton. Andy would clap Jeb's cheeks. I mean, that's a distinct possibility, but I think with that many fucking teenagers around, I think Andy's gonna have other fucking thoughts on his mind.
Dude, can you imagine that?
Jeb Bush.
Can you imagine the big red irritated mushroom stamp that a big old dick whip is gonna leave on Bush too? It's horrible, man. It's like
I think the way that's really gonna end is just like fucking Jeb Bush running out of the prom with a dick stamp on his face, his pants around his ankles, him trying to wrestle him back up, sniffling from his cold, crying, "Oh my God, no, it's the worst thing that's ever happened to me.
It's not fair."
And then the fucking E Entertainment News camera is gonna be there for some reason.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, they don't even need to be because every teenager in the room,
yeah,
is
they're
like
all gonna
wildly
it's gonna
uploading
be all
it.
over that shit.
Yeah,
dude, you never believe what happened at prom. And dick slap Jeb Bush in the face.
Dude, it would be mainstream news within fucking 20 minutes, probably before Jeb crawled out
Don
of
Lemon
there.
would break the news on CNN and shit. Oh my God, yeah. Anyway,
so these two, yeah, I don't know. This is a tough one. We'll have to see. I think it's going to come down to the rolls, as many of these do.
Yeah, let's see how they roll their fucking shit here. All right, we're taking high school auditorium during prom out of contention. Let's see where this battle will fucking take place. An open field on a gusty, rainy day.
Oh, so like an anime kind of setting here, anime showdown.
Tournament, more tournaments. Donate for more tournaments. Sure. Yeah, you donate for more tournaments. I don't give a shit. It's great. Okay. Yeah. So first to roll will be Rob Schneider. Let's see what he gets. He will get an advantage.
Oh, shit.
All right. We're going to take Secretly Well Hung off the list.
Schneider is a weasel, too, so he'll use this to the maximum advantage. So this is not a good roll for Wil Wheaton here.
Let's see what he gets. Well rested, not a devastating one, but you know, not to be underestimated.
It factors in. You're a little better when you're well rested.
Yeah, I mean, look, you know, your performance is going to be improved if you're
a little extra sting in those bitch boy slaps, a little extra flailing speed on the arms.
Oh yeah,
little extra noodly.
All right, well, let's see if Wil Wheaton will be similarly advantaged or if he will get the dreaded disadvantage. He's also going to get an advantage.
Keeping it fair.
All right, let's see what his advantage shall be.
We'll see if he can beat well rested.
Gets steel chair.
Oh wow,
pretty tough one there.
That's a big one.
Yeah, that's one of the better advantages that are baked into this thing. Now, will a steel chair be an advantage in a rainy field? I feel like it might be kind of hard to hold on to. So there is that.
I mean, it's going to be slippery. So maybe it's, and Wil Wheaton is not going to.
Yeah, I mean, Wil Wheaton's not going to exactly be a surgeon with a steel chair either.
Nor is he going to be able to throw a bunch of power behind it either. It's going to be a pretty noodly steel chair.
Yeah, I mean, Wil Wheaton's he's not a powerful man.
No.
We have the well rested thing. We have Rob Schneider.
Yeah, Rob is well rested, so maybe he's just well rested enough to see that chair coming and dodge most of the.
I'm thinking what's going to happen with that chair, and I mean it is a nice advantage, and I think it will end up hurting Rob, but I think it's going to hurt his arm more than anything, because I'm pretty sure that Rob is going to see that steel chair coming because he's well rested. He's
I mean,
gonna
it's
fucking,
right out there in the field. You know what I
right.
mean? There's
He's gonna
nothing.
block it. He's just gonna put up his arms to block it. It's gonna hit his
Yeah.
arms. It's gonna hurt, but it's probably gonna slip right out after that. So I think that
True.
steel chair probably is out of contention after doing some damage to the arms of Rob Schneider, which will maybe fucking slow him down a little bit or something, but I don't think it's gonna be a devastating thing. But that steel chair is there. Maybe one of them will try to pick it up again, but in a field with rain and mud, I think anyone who tries to go for that chair is definitely going to be leaving themselves open to an attack.
For sure. Yeah. It's going to be neither one of these guys is going to like being in the rain or having to deal with the mud and stuff. They're both going to be pretty prissy about it as I can see it. So, yeah. I don't think the steel chair is going to remain much of a factor after the first hit. And I really
think maybe some superficial damage to Rob's arms. Maybe it gets a glancing blow to something else. But
he'll definitely cry about it later. He'll definitely make that the centerpiece of his lawsuit that he files later. But for now, I really don't think it's going to do enough damage to keep Rob from being.
Rob is 5'3", so he's very small.
Yeah,
Will Wheaton is 5'11", so he's not. Will's not a manlet the way that Rob Schneider is. So
short guys got a lot of pent up anger, man. They do.
It's true, and you can tell that Rob Schneider does have some anger inside of him. And remember, Rob is well rested. Like he's got the ideal amount of rest. So this is peak Rob Schneider for whatever that's worth, which is not worth much in probably a fight with 90% of the people on the earth. But against Wil Wheaton, it might make a difference. Let's take a look at Wil Wheaton's body here. I want to see what kind of. Let's see what kind of fucking full. I want to see a full body of Wil Wheaton at this point.
I mean, he was a scrawny fucking kid.
Yeah, maybe he bulked up a little bit or something. No, still pretty scrawns. And also, I'm not buying 5'11" for this guy.
You think he's sneaking in a few inches?
Oh yeah, 100%. Check it out. Here, let me put this on the screen here. You know?
Oh yeah.
That's not. He ain't 5'11". He's 5'11". Then my dick is 5'11", bro.
Yeah. He's scrawny as fuck.
Nah, he's 5'6", 5'7", something like that. He ain't no 5'11". That's bullshit.
Yeah, he looks. He doesn't. Yeah, he definitely hasn't bulked up or gained any fucking muscle.
And he's like a scrawny little dude. He's got a little bit of a gut, but not much. And here he is standing next to I think his wife or girlfriend or something, and not much taller than her. So yeah, I severely
what is she,
doubt
5'11" too? Give me a fucking break, bro.
If he's 5'11", then she's 5'10". So like, come on, no fucking way. He's 5'6", 5'7".
Yeah, maybe he might even be shorter than that, man. Yeah. I don't know where he's sneaking.
So I don't think there's any distinctive height advantage here. I think that Rob Schneider being a small dude.
Like, what's he gonna claim? Was he standing in a fucking hole that he dug in the sand in that picture?
Yeah, well, Rob is 60. Rob is 59, but Wil Wheaton's 50. So like, there's not a huge age difference either. All right.
No, I don't really think it would make much of a difference in this too. There's a lot of stuff that's not factored in, but what I think the main factor here is.
Let me see if you think. I have a main factor in my mind too. I want to see if we're thinking alike on this one.
To me, the main factor is gonna be. I think that like Rob Schneider, he's a bitch boy, but I think he's hateful.
Yeah, it's the same thing for me. I think there's like more rage in Rob Schneider. There's like this contemptuousness. There's this belief inside of him that he should be way more successful than he is, that he's way better than what he's given credit for, that his talents are tremendous, and he just feels so overlooked, and he's so pissed about it. And he's so fucking full of animosity and hatred and just fucking seething anger that he's just like, I think he wants to take that out. And, being presented with this opportunity to take that out on fucking Wil Wheaton, I think there's more of a fighter's ferocity to him. Not to say that there's much, but I think there's more.
I think Wil Wheaton, there's a high likelihood that he's a little bit of a dick too. But I really think that Rob Schneider has a deep, look, dude, it takes one to know one. I think he's a super cynic. I think he has a tendency to maybe have a little bit of a persecution complex, and I can relate to that as well. And I really think that drives a whole lot of anger. And I just don't see. I think Wil Wheaton has like a smugness, and that kind of self-important kind of thing, but it's not anger. It's just like self-righteousness, which is different. So yeah, I think that's the determining factor in this, is just that, you know, there's really no advantage conferred by the
I think this one goes like a longer fight. I think this is more of a pure bitch boy slap fight. I think
It's
the
definitely
chair
gonna be
is
more
a non-factor
cinematic.
that much. I think these guys just go around. I think these guys just smack the shit out of each other. But I think at the end of the day, a well-rested, rage-filled Rob Schneider just fucking sticks it out a little longer and fucking pounds Wil Wheaton's ass to the ground.
Yeah, it's a very cinematic setting. You got the lightning going off. Both of them, like, the disadvantage of being pissed off by the rain and the mud is conferred on both of them, so it's really kind of canceled out. And I just don't see, it's going to be like a real slog through the mud, no pun intended. And I don't see Wil Wheaton sticking it out, but I do think Rob Schneider's got enough hate in his heart to really want to win this bitch boy slap fight and send Wil Wheaton packing. I think that's what he does.
I have to agree with you. So we have yet to disagree on this.
Yeah, so far, I mean, I think there's been we're starting to narrow the bracket now, and you know, if there's going to be disagreements, they're going to come, I think, later.
So the next bout is going to be Tim Pool versus Ben Shapiro. Going to be the two conservative commentators against each other, and then it's going to be the two has-been comedians against each other, and then we'll see.
Wow, it just worked out perfectly.
It's going to be commentator versus comedian.
Yeah, the best bitch boy has been comedian, the best bitch boy Republican commentator.
All right, so let's remove gusty, rainy field from contention as a location and see where this battle will take place. The depths of hell with an audience of demons jeering and wailing.
Oh, wow.
Which is a very appropriate place for two conservative commentators to fucking do battle, I think, by the way.
Yeah, it really is.
Tournament. Yes. Thank you. Yes. All right. So let's see if Tim Pool gets an advantage or a disadvantage. He will get an advantage. Let's see. We're going to take steel chair out of contention. A lot of weapons in here. There's a lot of other advantages too. Gets ruler. So he has a ruler, which is probably a more appropriate weapon for a bitch boy in a slap fight anyway, than a steel chair. A lot more wieldy for a bitch boy.
Yeah.
Let's see about old Ben Shapiro. He will get a disadvantage.
Oh, no. Benny boy, no.
Let's get rid of recovering from a cold and see what disadvantage will be conferred upon Ben. Suddenly overwhelmed by the pointlessness of it all.
Yeah, you know what? I think that's Tim Pool most days anyway. You know what I mean?
Well, this is Ben's thing.
Oh, this is Ben. Oh, yeah. So that is different. Yeah.
Ben is going to be like, Ben's going to have this moment where he's got to fight Tim Pool in hell. Tim Pool's got a ruler. And he's just going to like think to himself like, God damn it, that's just fucking, it's all just pointless.
Yeah, it's all just a zero-sum game.
Give a shit? It doesn't matter. Even if I win, I'm still just a bitch boy.
Yeah, we're all just hamsters running on a wheel, chasing the cheese we'll never get, you know what I mean, until we fucking give out. Yeah, he's going to have that fucking existential moment where you realize that, like, you're not important and nobody else is important either, you know?
So what do you think that does to Ben Shapiro's fighting ability?
He's got a towering fucking ego. And like we said earlier, he's a very dominant kind of force and personality. And I think that having to come to terms with the utter nihilism of it all, even if he knows in his heart of hearts, like most moralists do, that it's all bullshit.
Yeah, but to have it come crushing down at that moment, you know?
It's right in his face and he can't ignore it and he can't push it down. He's got to have that thought cycle of like, you know, I'm just a fucking shaved ape up here, like screeching at the top of my lungs about shit that's so inconsequential. It's not even worth mentioning, you know, and that's going to be like, fuck, like for him, for a towering ego, that's going to be stunning. You know, that's definitely going to.
So that's going to take a lot of wind out of his sails there. Now, but you know, I mean, there's
got fucking Tim Pool and he's armed with a weapon.
Now it's just a ruler, but a ruler is a pretty good slapping implement, you know?
I mean, what do nuns use to shut kids up in Catholic school?
Exactly.
Give them a rap on the knuckles with that. That hurts, man. Leaves a stinging fucking, there's an after sting.
Yeah,
getting hit by a ruler.
But will that sting bring Ben sort of out of his reverie a little bit? Maybe make him focus on the more pragmatic reality of like, whatever, this might be pointless, but I need to be in this fight. Or is it going to just be like, whatever,
Yeah, I think it's going to make him a little bit more passive than maybe he otherwise would have been. I think that he might have really immediately struck back with redoubled fury. But because he was lost in the existential nightmare of being a shaved ape, you think
it's going to push him more towards flight than fight in that instance? Then,
yeah, he might get more like
no. It might just bring him down for like, ow, please, no.
Yep.
Don't you see? We're just competing for the amusement of these demons laughing at us, chortling.
The moral coward that hides at the center of every towering fucking ego would come out for long enough to really shift this fight, I think, honestly. I think Tim, having had his beanie blown off in the last one, has a lot of that rage that we were talking about too. Because I think Tim's also a pretty angry dude.
Yeah, well, they're both conservative commentators, so they both kind of traffic in like a lot of, impotent rage. So
I think Tim's got something to prove. His beanie got blown off in that last fight, and there was just all the, there was even contentious, like, did he really win? I mean, technically he won, but didn't Kermit ultimately kind of win the moral victory there by revealing the baldness?
So what kind of effect do you think these demons jeering at them and the fact that they're just like
nothing
in hell right now?
Nothing. And
factor?
I'll tell you why nothing, because both of these guys are conservatives. So both of them have the conservative thing of having this like very utopian vision that they speak out of their mouths, but all their policy are about making everything a fucking capitalist hellhole. So I think to them, it's just like, yes, the ultimate fucking, the ultimate ends of my ideology. Yes.
So they're totally comfortable there. They're just like,
oh yeah, dude, look at it.
Hail Satan. Yes, of course.
Like a brutal, sadistic, totalitarian dictator runs it. Of course, both their dicks are hard, if anything,
This is great.
This is
we need to get more of this. We need to get more of this shit back home.
Well, that's what I call subjugation. So yeah, I think both of them are definitely right at home in hell. I don't think it's bothering either of them being there.
Maybe you should get a yarmulke like your buddy there, Tim.
I mean, who knows, man? He needs. I don't think a yarmulke would cut it.
Yeah, you need something bigger.
Yeah,
you need a beanie.
He needs to switch up his hats or something. Like get one of them big Rasta things, Yeah,
if you switch hats more, maybe it works out better for you.
Yeah, go get some fake. I've watched it on YouTube. You can get dreads like installed on your head if you're a bald guy, and it looks pretty fucking
Shapiro
real.
Plays violin for the next TP song. You think they're going to collab? Have they ever actually been in the same place? Have they ever had a conversation with each other? I've never really seen
they
that.
Have.
Anyway.
I think they have, but I can't remember anything specific about it.
Yeah, I think
so I might be wrong.
The fact that Ben Shapiro is brought from the heights of smug self-assuredness to this sort of like, what is the purpose of it all place?
Yeah,
does kind of like it. Kind of like it's a further fall for him than it is for many.
I think it's one that I think it was one of the worst things that he could have rolled. Honestly, now that I think about it, because I really don't think it has the effect. I mean, it might be, it's going to be harmful to any of these
like you said, if Tim Pool got that, it's almost like, Tim Pool's already awash in that. You know what I mean?
Well, because every night he stands in front of the bathroom mirror and he takes that beanie off and he sees his shame in the mirror.
Yeah, or like if Andy Dick got that, it'd be like, Andy Dick, like, yeah, everything's pointless, bitch. Who gives a fuck?
Right, yeah. He would just do more drugs, which would fuel his fire, Or
Rob Schneider, it's like, yeah, I know everything's fucking pointless because I'm not ahead in life, Like, all these other guys...
The only thing that does have a point is me never being inconvenienced, Like he's right there. Schneider's right there. So yeah,
right, so he's like the one person that is like most devastated by this, I think. So,
yep,
because it's such a difference for him because he doesn't have that attitude at all in his like public persona, at least. Any sort of private doubts he might have aside,
Right. It's definitely not laid bare with him. And this is explicitly, that's what happens. He's forced to confront the utter meaninglessness of it all. And I really think that stuns him. And I think it opens him up to. I think it really colors this fight. Honestly,
I
think
mean, I think that
he's a different fighter after that first blow.
He's going to fight with less aggression than he would have normally. I think he's going to kind of, I think he's going to lean more into the flight thing. He's going to maybe try to do that whole like, let's be reasonable and all this shit.
If he's in that mode of thinking, he's gonna see how utterly fucking embarrassing this whole bitch boy slap fight is.
Yeah.
Like in a way that maybe he wouldn't have. He would have just seen it as a route to domination. But I'm telling you, man, the more I talk about it, the more I become convinced that Ben loses this one. Just a shitty roll.
But it is the nature of the dice. And the fucking advantage, disadvantage. I mean, it's all fair. Everybody gets it's all random chance, like just like any other fight.
It's fair as can be, but it just goes to show you that oftentimes it comes down to the rolls on these for sure. Yeah.
Any given Sunday. All right. Tim, sorry. I'm sorry. Tim. Ben, sorry, but you lose.
Ben's out of here.
You're out. All right. Who will face Tim Pool in the final round? Will it be Andy Dick or Rob Schneider? What do the dice have to say?
And see, I think that these guys would have a far greater reaction to finding themselves in the depths of hell. But that one's off the list now, so.
That's gone. Let's see where they get. Where will they fight? Arby's dining room with people shouting World Star and filming them on cell phones.
Man. Oh, boy. Both of them are right at home.
I have to believe this is more Andy's element than Rob's, but still, either one.
Rob is still eating it up though, because Rob will take any kind of fucking press.
Oh yeah, if they're paying attention to him.
Yep.
Yes.
So both of them, I think, are pretty fired up. I think Andy more so than Rob.
I think Andy is going to be more in his element here, but I think this is going to light more of a fire under Rob's ass to win, because he's going to be like, I cannot be if there's a video online of me getting my ass beat by Andy Dick. That's
like to Rob, this is an event. To fucking Andy Dick, this is Tuesday night. You know what I mean?
So this is like Andy Dick getting it, because if I told you Rob Schneider was in a fight at an Arby's, you'd be like, oh, that's fucking crazy. If I told you Andy Dick was in a fight at Arby's, you'd be like, yeah, and like it's just like, what? It's like the background radiation of Andy Dick's life. You know what I mean?
Yep.
He's a fish in water on that one. All right, but let's see. What kind of rolls the dice? So, Andy, you go first. Andy will get a disadvantage.
Oh, shit.
So, we're going to take away suddenly overwhelmed by the, I think that's already gone, actually. So, that's already gone.
But we'll re-roll if it isn't.
So, yeah. Lacks confidence.
Oof.
So, Andy is in one of his low moods. Andy is like, I can't just fucking, what am I doing? What the fuck am I even fucking doing? I'm at a fucking Arby's fighting Rob fucking Schneider. Like, what is this even?
He's been smoking heroin. He's been like smoking melted pills, like melted Xanax.
So maybe the fact that this is just his wheelhouse is actually the disadvantage here, because he's just like, why is this my fucking life? What if I allowed myself to? It's like a rare moment of like clarity where Andy's like looking around like, what is this shit?
It's definitely not going to help him at all. It's not, and it's definitely not going to be something he can brush off either.
And Rob is going to get an advantage. So looking pretty nice for Rob at this point. Let's see what he gets. We'll get rid of the ruler because that's not going to be it.
No more ruler.
Oops. Okay. What power will he obtain? Can tag in Peyton.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so if Rob starts to lose, he can just tag in Peyton. Peyton can go in there and take over the battle.
Damn. Yeah, this one is,
and the fact that Andy is in this funk where he's lacking confidence, I mean, that's just a devastating fucking disadvantage. That's one of the worst ones you could possibly get.
And he gets double teamed here by two.
I mean, it's not 2-on-1, but if Rob starts to lose, he can tag. He always has this option to tag in a fresh fighter.
He could overwhelm Andy with facts about Ben 10. You know what I mean?
Now, I will say this right now. Peyton is actually sick right now. So, canonically right now, Peyton is not at in top form, but
Sure, but I mean, it's still it's hard to ignore, you know.
Yeah.
Having an extra bitch boy to run in.
How is Peyton an advantage? I mean, like, look at the tournament we're in, you know? Like, come on.
I mean, you know what? You know what, though? Before you disregard Tucker's comment there, Peyton is often a disadvantage.
True.
He can be an advantage. But Peyton, there's a mixed bag with Peyton. Sometimes Peyton ends up, you know, flubbing the research, pulling some fucking shit that's a special interest of his, but nobody else cares about. You know what I mean? So Peyton he can be disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. So, I mean, like, but will Rob Schneider even need to tag in Peyton with the fact that Andy is approaching this fight with so little confidence in the first place, you know?
Like maybe he tags in Peyton and Peyton didn't understand the match. And so Peyton actually lands a bitch boy slap fight on his own guy, you know, thinking he's doing the right thing. He's like, oh yeah, bitch boy slap fight, here you go. Whoosh, you know, and he lands a bitch boy because he just doesn't, you know, he wasn't listening or whatever.
What if Rob Schneider is just like, doesn't want to get his own hands dirty, and he just tags in Peyton right away? Because he's just like, I don't even want to fucking do this. You just do it. You handle this, Peyton. And just tags in Peyton, sends Peyton in.
Right.
Before he even fucking gets in the fight.
Peyton, I mean, you watching, see, that's just shows you're perfect for this list because you think watching pro wrestling gives you some kind of an advantage in this, you know?
Yeah.
It doesn't, dude. You're like the, never mind, Peyton. We love you. But yeah, no. So Peyton, you know, I think we'd have to flip a coin to see if Peyton, if he does call Peyton in, which he does. Rob Schneider is a coward at the heart, so he's going to take any advantage.
I think, but I mean, like, remember, if he calls in Peyton, he's out. Like this is not a 2-on-1. This is a tag team.
Right. Well, but like tag teams can do that like double stomp finisher if they want. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, but
that's
like,
part of the rules. They can be in the ring like 10 seconds before they get counted out, right?
All right, fair enough. So we'll go by those rules then.
So they tag him in and they get 10 seconds to gang stomp him. And I think Andy Dick being out of his element while he's in his element is going to be really tough for him to overcome in this. The 2-on-1, Peyton gets to come in for the fucking finisher. Of course, Rob is going to use him at the most inopportune moment because he's a weasel.
But, you know, look, we're forgetting one thing, though, here. There is an important factor here that we need to fucking think about for a second. The fact that Andy Dick has gone into this fight with a lack of confidence. Andy Dick is one of the few people who could get out of a lack of confidence pretty fucking quick because everything about Andy Dick is pretty much pharmacological at this point.
Yeah, he could just take a bump of cocaine or something.
I mean, like,
get that.
does Andy Dick have cocaine on his person? Yes.
Yes.
So, like, can he get to it and snort it before Rob or Peyton slap it out of his fucking hands?
If anybody could get a fucking bump of cocaine up their nose quickly, it's Andy Dick. So I got to say yes. Like, you know, maybe that's what he does. Maybe he sees, you know, Rob coming for him and he uses his time instead of defending. He, you know, snorts a little bump. It clears his head because he definitely would have access to an immediate, you know, rush. You're right about that.
I mean, you know, something like, I mean, there is that possibility that he could maybe overcome this disadvantage with, you know, the drugs that are clearly on his person.
At that point, the bystanders really come into play because I think a lot of them are going to be cheering Andy on.
I mean, yeah, and they're all screaming "World Star," and they're like, "Oh my God, he just did a lot of coke, y'all!
Yeah,
World Star, get him, Andy, get him!"
And he's jazzed up by that for sure because that's his element, you know. And so, yeah, I think maybe Rob and Peyton just can't really overcome
listen
it.
To this. I'd kick Andy Dick's ass. I can take him, guys. I'll channel the love of my friends and family.
Oh my God, you're perfect for this.
Oh,
you were a perfect tag partner for this.
Oh fuck, dude.
Yeah, so yeah, I don't think Peyton is the advantage maybe we thought he was, especially with Andy so quickly being able to kind of like shed his little kind of low moment and turn it high, pharmacologically speaking. So
there's no guns, okay? No one has a gun.
Nobody's shooting anybody.
These are bitch boy slap fights. So there's not, you know, there's sometimes little weapons here and there, but there ain't no guns.
Right. Yeah, so I think Andy really like this one, in my opinion, now that we've thought about the whole thing, I feel like that the location role is just such a boon for Andy, because it's just, showing his ass in public with a bunch of drunk idiots in the middle of the night at an Arby's cheering him on is pretty much like, if Andy has an element, that's it, And I really don't think I think Rob's going to be more like starstruck by the fact that he's getting so much press and shit, and like I said, it's more of an event for him. And I think maybe he'll tag in Peyton, hoping that Peyton will help, but Peyton like channels the love of his family or whatever the fuck instead of helping. And so, yeah, I really think Andy wins this one, man.
Yeah, I mean,
even with the disadvantage, I think that's so.
I feel like even when we started this and I saw the shitty rolls, I'm like, Andy's got to win this though. There's just something about the energy of Andy Dick that prevails over the energy of Rob Schneider in a slap fight, like almost, I mean, like, almost against the odds, because yeah, especially in an Arby's with everyone chanting World Star, it just has to be this way.
So Peyton said that he threw up 10 minutes ago. So there's a possibility Peyton could puke, but he's going to be puking on Andy Dick. And then once again, it's something that probably happens to Andy Dick every night of his life. Somebody at a fucking dive bar vomits on him. So he's not, out of all these dudes, he's going to be the least nonplussed by any vomiting that
you know what?
Peyton
I'm gonna say Andy wins this.
Yeah, Andy wins.
I think it's a tough one. I think he comes out of it worse for the wear.
I don't think it's the semifinal.
I don't think he comes out unscathed. I think Andy gets fucked up. Maybe he's even some bloodshed.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, Andy walks out of that fucking Arby's and says, says what he says and shit. And he's fucking grabs the roast beef sandwich off some dude's plate in a fucking show bravado and then gets knocked out by that guy. But that doesn't matter.
Right.
Because the fight is over.
So, yeah.
All right. So it's time for the final battle.
Dun, 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 dun.
Tim Pool versus Andy Dick. Now, I'm just going to be honest up front. Andy is my favorite for this match.
I mean, he does have a lot of built-in advantages with his drug use and shit.
And well, the thing that really fucking gives Andy an advantage over most of these competitors is he's pure fucking insanity.
Yes.
Like, there's just something about Andy Dick that's pure insanity. Like, he fucking walks headlong into trouble and disaster on a fucking daily basis.
Thrives in the chaos, as they say. So
yeah. Whatever, like, I like to fucking fancy myself as like, I love chaos and shit, but Andy Dick really loves chaos.
Yeah, I might say some shit like that too, but when chaos happens in my life, I'm begging for it to end.
Man, please give me some order.
Give me a little bit of order, please.
But Andy Dick is just like, more chaos, please.
Yeah.
That's all you got? Give me a little more, bitch.
Just like routinely homeless, routinely photographed sleeping in an alley somewhere in West Hollywood.
Recently became a fucking registered sex offender,
Yeah, grabbing goosing people's asses on RVs and shit. Yeah, he's a crazy fuck.
You gone and you're here still. Okay, yeah, these are the two we have.
But Tim Pool,
Tim Pool,
he's got some things going for him here too.
Yeah.
I can't really think of any.
Yeah, man, I don't know what they are, but they're there. We'll figure it out.
He's a person, you know what I mean? And he's capable of throwing a bitch boy slap. So if that's all it takes sometimes. So,
well, let's see. Maybe the rolls will tell. I mean, like, Andy could get bad rolls here too, Let's see.
He could.
What do we got? Atop a rickety bridge overhanging an endless black chasm.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, this is not a good roll for Tim Pool, in my opinion. Because I don't think Andy is going to even be aware that he's on the precipice of death.
Yeah, I think Tim Pool will have a much more heightened awareness of the danger.
And Tim Pool's cowardy ass, dude, he's gonna be terrified by that.
Well, let's see. Tim Pool, you get the first roll. You get a disadvantage.
Oof.
You already have one, I think, in the form of a setting that's going to be a little harder on you. But let's see what your disadvantage will be. Sudden queasiness, which I think makes sense in that circumstance, actually. Let's see what old Andy gets. He also gets a disadvantage. Let's see what that would be. Even more of a bitch than usual.
I mean, once again, a lot of these dudes that levels them down. But for Andy, I think this is actually a hidden boon. I think it levels him up. You know what I mean?
Because it's just, you know what? It's the type of bitch he is, though. Because he's a crazy bitch.
Yeah, exactly. So he's just more crazy than usual. Doesn't look good for Tim Pool.
All right. So, the only thing that could maybe go in Tim Pool's favor here is Andy's blithe ignorance of how much danger he's in just leads him to fucking, I don't know, just step on a fucking shitty plank and fall to his death. Or just like,
but you know what? He always seems to escape the worst of it. And so he would fall maybe, but he's not falling to his death. The only one really in danger of falling to their death is Tim Pool. Andy will just walk right out in the middle of a busy highway and shit. He's just always threatening to get splattered all over the road or have somebody murder him or whatever, but he just never happens to him.
This fight is more epic than Gandalf versus Balrog. Well, yeah, I mean, of course.
It should be.
This is the final battle. This is the ultimate bitch boy slap fight to see which bitch boy will fucking be the slap fightiest. I don't know.
Let me ask you this, TJ.
Yeah.
Because I'm having trouble coming up with something myself. Can you think of a scenario within reason where Tim Pool wins this one?
No.
He's up on the rickety bridge. It's blown around in the wind. So
he's queasy. He's terrified. Andy Dick is a fucking psycho. Andy Dick is coming at him full force because he has no fear of the fucking precipice of death whatsoever.
Even crazier, an even crazier bitch than usual.
Yeah, and he's in crazy mode.
He got some of those like lemon quaaludes or whatever from Wolf of Wall Street. He's just,
just look at this. Just look at this guy for a second, and just tell me, like, is there anyone on Earth you would less want to be on a rickety, dangerous bridge fighting than this guy? Like, I'd almost rather fucking be fighting like Mike Tyson or something.
Yeah, because at least there's
this particular scenario.
There's a self-preservation instinct to Mike Tyson, at least.
Right, and there isn't one here.
No.
Andy Dick might even fucking think he's like having a dream or something. Like he's not gonna care.
I said, he might not even be seeing a rickety bridge. He might be seeing like a beautiful cartoon field filled with like bunny rabbits and shit. Like who knows what he's seeing.
Andy Dick is the new Gorilla. I'm pretty sure Gorilla would win against Andy Dick pretty fucking
But Tim Pool, his square ass is going in stone cold sober.
Just look at him. Look at the fear in his eyes. Look at the fear in his eyes just standing in this room in front of this whiteboard, for fuck's sake. Come on.
At most, this guy had a craft beer with lunch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something named like Michigan Manhandler or some shit. He had one of those with lunch earlier. Andy is fucked up 12 ways from Sunday on some new shit. No way, dude. No.
Look, the only way that I can see this even kind of going in Tim's favor, and not really even in Tim's favor, but like the mutually assured destruction angle, right? Like where fucking Andy just fucking latches onto Tim and they both just plummet off the fucking bridge.
Here's the deal. I think there's still a winner in that scenario.
Yeah.
Because who was more of a bitch in their final moments? Like who lost the bitch boy slap fight even though they were both doomed to death?
Yeah.
And I think it's Tim.
Because as Andy plummets to his death, he's just like, "Wah, bitch!"
Right.
So it doesn't matter.
Tim is wailing and screaming like a girl.
Mommy!
Yep.
Plus, what comes off in that fall?
The beanie.
Yeah.
One last indignity.
Yep. And just before they fucking hit the ground, Andy Dick's gonna be like, "You bald-headed bitch!"
And it'll echo in eternity too, because that like it'll be being filmed by the media because this is a huge championship fight, and they'll have slow-mo of that beanie coming off till the end of time.
Yep.
Till the end of time.
There's no.
And Andy Dick doesn't give a fuck.
I hate when the final battle is just not even much of a contest, but it is what it is.
Andy Dick really won this, in my opinion, on location rolls. He just ended up with 2 out of 3 locations that were just like actually leveled him up.
All right, you
know
what?
Like perfect for him.
Let's rerun the scenario then. one last run on this. We don't have to fucking spend too much time on it, but let's just see if the fucking location, if a location change would have made much of a difference. All right.
Sure.
Let's just do it. Let's run it one more time just because it is the championship.
See an alternate reality. What could have been
inside Paul's living room.
I mean, no. I mean, I really don't.
Hold on. Let's see. And then let's see. Tim would get an advantage and Andy would get an advantage. And let's see what those advantages would be. Tim's advantage would be testosterone level +5.
Ooh.
So that might make a difference.
Yeah, see?
And then Andy would gets kendo stick.
He's gonna be able to,
Andy still wins. It doesn't matter. It's just Andy's just the winner here.
He is. I agree.
I don't think it makes a fucking difference.
No, it doesn't. The kendo stick is too much, dude, for Tim Pool. Even leveled up +5 Tim Pool.
I don't even want to fight Andy Dick with a fucking kendo stick. All right, I don't even want that. Like, come on.
Either.
It's just not. I'm not into it. So anyway, I think Andy Dick is the ultimate bitch boy.
Yeah.
He's he's the crown, the king of the bitch boys, I guess,
he's about
or
the best
queen
you
of the
can
bitch
expect.
boys, or whatever you want.
Yeah, the most respectable bitch boy on the list for sure is Andy Dick because he can hold it down. Doesn't give a fuck. He rides that crazy thing.
If the bitch boys ever form a country, this is their president. That's what you got to know.
Yep.
That's what you got to fucking know. All right. Well, Paul and I are supposed to do a grease trap, so I guess we will be seeing you guys in a few minutes in there. For a little greasy trap
patrons, and if you want to join, become a patron. We'll continue the fun for our patrons in about 10-15 minutes.
See you there.